How you doing, everybody? Welcome to another Monday morning here in paradise. How you doing today? It is February the 22nd, 2021. Can you believe it? We're almost done the second month of the new year. I mean, just how you doing today? How does that happen? How does the time fly like that? I can't believe it. We're having too much fun. That's what it is. Too much fun in too little time. The hours and the days and the weeks just go, hoo-ah, they're gone. Welcome one, welcome all to Traveling with Bruce and Stock Markets with Bruce and Uncle Bruce on Stock Markets with Bruce. I had to plug my other channel. I mean, yeah, you can't forgive it. You can't blame a guy for trying. How you doing today? Lots of news in the pre-market today that I want to get to you guys. I want to make you aware of a few things going on. I have a stock I want to talk to you about, a couple actually today that I want to make you aware of so that you're up to speed on what's might be happening. We're always looking for opportunities out there, and we may have found another. See what we can do with this. The indications for the market are negative to start the day, down 220 on the Dow, down 35 on S&P, and down 200 on NASDAQ. We will know in the next hour, because that's how long it's going to be before we open up, if that's truly the case. I'm not so worried about the market having a little pullback or anything like that. Quite healthy. That is all right. There's a lot of talk right now. If you're watching these financial shows and these analysts that are coming on, they all these know-it-alls. Maybe I'm one of them, but these know-it-alls are talking about the threat of inflation. We could have the return of inflation. Most of you who are under 30, under 35, you have no idea what inflation really is. You really have not had firsthand experience as an adult to really know. If you're like me, an old timer, 65 years old, your Uncle Bruce has been through what inflation can do to an economy, to individuals, to households, family businesses, and everything else. Inflation can be a good and bad thing in a way, but it's not what you want to have. However, sometimes inflation in a reasonable, moderate amount is not that bad a thing. And the inflation that these analysts are referring to, none of these analysts that you hear about, these bond people, stock people, none of them are talking about inflation like I experienced when I was 17, 18, 19, 20 years of age, when I watched it just wreak havoc on my dad's music store, just my dad's music store, mom and pop shop. I remember having to change price tags on merchandise. Like, for example, we used to sell harmonicas to all these, rock and roll bands, and the lead singer usually would play a little harmonica once in a while. And we would have in stock, probably from the Hohner harmonica company, we would have probably 15 different harmonica styles in stock. And then they came in different musical keys. It's a key of C, the G, and the F, key of A, and so on and so forth. And so we would have in the store, I'd say we'd have 300 harmonicas at all times, always 300 harmonicas, and several of each style and key, especially the most popular styles and keys. So the Marine Band harmonica and the others, we kept them in stock by the dozens. I remember when I first worked for my dad's music store that we could sell a harmonica, our Hohner harmonica, Marine Band harmonica, for like $6, $5-6 was kind of the price. $4.99, $5.99, somewhere in that range. But when inflation took off in about 72, 3, and 4 in those years, we're not talking about 3 or 4% inflation. We're talking about the annual inflation rate of between 10 and 15 to 18%. Every 2 months, every 60 days, my dad would hand me the price gun and say, "Kid, go reprice the harmonicas." And he'd give me the new pricing for each model, what they now would have to retail for, because he just got the new pricing, what he had to pay to get them. And they were coming from Germany, imported into Canada, convert to Canadian with inflation there and here. I mean, these things were going up. And so I would grab a harmonica and it would have 3 price stickers on it already. The first one, The second one was put on top of the first one, a third one on top of the first two, and now my turn to put on the next one. And my dad would say to me, take off all the other price stickers and just put on one only, because this is getting kind of ridiculous. And so I would peel off the 3 price stickers that were on there, and I would put the new one on, and the harmonica would go from, say, $7.49 or $7.50 to $8.25. It would go up 75 cents. And 2 months later, I'd have to do it again, and it would go up another 50 cents because they didn't go up. I noticed the official rate inflation was 12, 15%. Not in our store. I'm looking at 10% every 2 months is what the prices went up at, because the official inflation rate that the government gives you is the, is the conservative blended blah, blah, blah number. But I'm dealing in reality. I'm dealing in a hard piece item, a harmonica. You got to have one. And to get the harmonica from the factory in Germany to the wholesaler or exporter to Canada, the importer, and from the importer to the jobber wholesaler, and from the wholesaler to the retailer, and from the retailer to you. All these steps, everyone had their 4%, 5%, 6% price increase all along the line. By the time it came to you guys, we had to bump the price up by 10% every 2 months. It was just insanity. And the one good thing about that, though, was that my dad, being a savvy buyer, like you should be with the stock market, he would be buying dozens of harmonicas to make sure he always had good inventory in stock. And from time to time, the music wholesaler might have a special. They might have like a promotional deal for the month of June or something, like quiet months. They'll have a special deal, all merchandise 10, 15%, 10, 15% off. Excuse me. And so my dad would order 100 harmonicas, for example, or sets of guitar strings or guitar picks, all this stuff that went up in price all the time, electric cords for the guitar into the amplifier, these accessories. We made a fortune on this stuff because we had the variety. But anyway, he would order a whack of these, and then the prices would go up a couple months later. And now he's selling a harmonica for $8.95, or he's trying to, that he bought at wholesale when they were retailing for $2 less. And he got a deal on that batch. In effect, he's paying $3.50 for a harmonica net, and he's now selling them for $7.99 or $8 a piece. So there's the advantage of inflation. Your in-house inventory is rising in so-called value, but you're no richer because all your bills have just gone up, of course. But you make your money when you buy. And because he would be a savvy buyer, being a former traveling salesman for a music company, he knew the game. He knew the players, he knew all the competition, he knew their merchandise, and he knew who would have a deal when and how. He also had a lot of other salesmen. He knew the inside track. He'd know, yeah, there's a deal coming up in 2 weeks in June. There's a big deal coming up with this music company, and then this guy, they're going to want to move stuff. Other times, he would just pick up the phone and call the owner of the music company or the general manager and say, look, rather than giving me 30-day net terms to pay, what if I took hopped in my car and drove from Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario to Toronto, which is an hour and 15 minutes. What if I drove into town and just dropped off a check for a cash buy on the spot? What can we do today? And the manager would go, Mr. Frommert, come on down here. Anything in the warehouse, an extra 20% off. You're buying cash today? Like you coming in tomorrow? Net to you 20, just take it, but it's cash and carry. Write a check and take it out of here. And we don't have to ship it, which helps us because we don't spend the shipping costs. We don't have to bill you and wait 30 days to pay or hope that you pay in 60 or 90. It's on the spot, done deal, beautiful. And some of these purchases were on the spot in the warehouse, no salesman involved. Unlike my dad's employer, his former employer, who would pay him for any music order from any music store, whether he wrote the order or not, he got his commission. Here, my dad knew that if certain music companies didn't pay salesmen the commission if the store walked in and bought or just phoned and directly ordered. And so he knew that there was a 10, 15% savings right there that the house wasn't paying to a salesman. And by knowing this, he would go in and, in effect, be buying at employee pricing, in effect. So he'd come back with, at that time he'd spend $1,000 in Toronto, and our van that we had a Ford van at the time, would be loaded with boxes of merchandise, just tons of, and we would bring it into the store and start pricing it up, and his margins were much higher than they would have been, and that's how we did the business. But that's what you had to do in an inflationary environment. You had to be ahead of the pricing situation, because as soon as the prices went up, business went down. Because these rock and roll musicians that were buying our harmonicas, they were only getting 20, 40, 50 bucks a night to play on stage for 4 or 6 hours. They were only maybe playing 2 days a week, 3 days a week. These guys are making 500, 600 a month on playing music. So to offer them a harmonica at $8, these guys thought twice before they got one. They might wait another week or two before they finally replaced the old one. Tough times, and the higher the prices went, the worse it got. By the time I left my father's employ when I was 21, a harmonica now was running over $13 for a harmonica. The pricing had now gone to that level. So from like $4, $5, $6 a harmonica retail, they were now $12 to $14 a piece at retail, just to give you an idea of what the damage that inflation was doing. And so, yeah, you could say, oh, wow, all the merchandise in your store is worth 20% more in value than it was 2 years ago. Yeah, but the rent has gone up, the city taxes have gone up, price of everything has gone up, wages are going up, the cost of being in business. And so that's the damaging part of inflation. So anyway, these analysts are talking on the market. Oh, we got to watch out for inflation. Well, if they're like me and they've got any of this stuff, this white colored stuff on the side of their heads, whatever hair is left is turning white. They've been around since I've been around, and they remember what inflation really can do badly, what it can do badly. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about inflation that might go to 3 or 4% on an annual basis, not 18 to 20% out of control inflation. What could cause inflation? What could do it? One thing that could do it, probably won't, but what could, is if oil went to $100 a barrel very quickly. If oil just went up because the perception is demand is going to be great with the opening up economies and people traveling again, filling up the gas tank with the RV and traveling all over the place. If oil were to be perceived to go to those kinds of levels, that would permeate through the entire economy, because energy is the first component you need to do anything. You got to heat your house, you got to power up your car, you got to fire up a factory. You need energy, and oil is a big part of it. But I don't see that happening, because what the oil guys conveniently don't mention to you and I out there is you'll hear an oil analyst say, oh, yeah, we're at $60 a barrel now, $59.84 a barrel, easily $75 a barrel this fall, easily. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm thinking, really? Do you know how many millions of barrels of oil that can be produced daily are shut in right now all over North America? The U.S. is drowning in oil domestically. Canada's drowning in oil domestically. We can't get it out of here fast enough because we can't get pipelines approved across the U.S. border, ironically. But I'll tell you, if oil does go back up to 100 plus a barrel, watch pipelines get approved like that, because politicians are going to go, what are we doing? We're restricting access to energy domestically. What are we, crazy? And pipelines sometimes go both directions. People forget that. In any event, moving oil could move up inflation, but it's not going to happen. There is so much oil sloshing around in Russia, Saudi Arabia, the OPEC nations. All entities around the world are drowning in oil, and I don't care if demand goes up dramatically, not going to be a problem. The supply is there to supply the demand. Absolutely there. Short-term blips, yep, and that's what I think we have right here. I think we have a short-term blip right now at 60. Oil should be right now about $30 a barrel. That's where it should be right now, because that's all it's worth. There's too much of it, but with a freeze in Texas and a shutdown of a pipeline here, and maybe a hurricane coming through the Gulf of Mexico. These are, these big media interruption events that conveniently don't get followed up on 3 or 4 days later when everything's back to normal. It's way too much oil for the demand, and oil companies are still suffering, trying to get by. There's a lot of mergers going on in the smaller oil and gas sector to eliminate a lot of competition, because why have 3 small oil companies when you can have just 1 medium oil company, and you just have 1 receptionist instead of 3 receptionists? You have 1 president instead of 3 presidents, and 1 board of directors instead of 3. It's just more efficient to merge and consolidate. That's what's been happening in the oil patch, and it'll continue to happen. I don't see oil going crazy, but that's one thing that could make inflation happen, but I don't think so. Another is the devaluation of currency. If you're holding US dollars or Canadian dollars or British pounds or euros, and your country's currency is losing against others, then the price of imports are going up for your citizens. So in Canada, we're not part of the US dollar network. We're not pegged to the American dollar. We just free trade. And so we're up against the euro, we're up against the dollar, we're up against the British pound. And, Canada with 36 million people, it's got a lot of lifting to do to keep its currency wherever it's at. Right now, it's around 78, 79 cents against the American dollar. If our dollar went down to 60 cents, then our prices could go up for imports by 10, 15, 20% in dollar terms, in Canadian dollar terms. The good news, though, is if our dollar drops in value, then our exports are that much cheaper for other countries to buy. So there's this dichotomy here, the one versus the other. Canada being a very heavy exporting country, we export a lot of stuff. That's actually good for us. The lower our dollar goes, the better it is for our prices. Of course, it upsets Americans like you cannot believe, American business people, because Canadian product comes into the US at 15% lower price because of the Canadian dollar getting whacked against the American dollar. American businesses are going, geez, we have to compete with these dang Canadians that keep flooding our market with all these cheap goods. Well, we're just going, hey, our dollar, you don't like our dollar. Our goods are cheaper to you. It's just the way it is now. If America were to be a supporter of the Canadian dollar and buy Canadian dollars through the Fed, that would keep the Canadian dollar higher, and that would keep Canadian export prices higher inside the United States, giving the U.S. businessmen a better shot at making money. I mean, around and around it goes. And trade disputes happen all the time between countries, and sometimes Canadians are upset with American goods or European goods or China goods, and vice versa. It's the big circle of life. And currencies trade 24 hours a day, 7 days a week through computer systems everywhere. And there's always this battle and wonderment. Where's the dollar going? Where's the pound going? Where's the euro going? So that could spur inflation for a certain country or a certain region, all right? But cheap currency sometimes is a good thing for exports. And so not always a bad thing to have. There you go. So inflation, do not be worried about a massive inflation spike coming. This so-called stimulus deal, the $1.9 trillion stimulus deal that is coming down the pipe, I can tell you it's happening. It's going to happen. I don't see politically how it's going to be derailed. I don't even see how it's going to be cut back. There might be a few tweaks here and there, but generally speaking, it's going through. And this morning, you heard something that I think you're going to hear more of, and that was there was a release this morning, a report that the White House is adjusting the PPP. I think it's the loan program for small businesses. They are gearing it towards businesses with 20 employees or fewer, small or mom and pops. They're opening up the spigot to small entities first, rather than the big guys that took advantage of that first program, a year or so ago. This is a good thing, because there are millions of mom and pop operations out there that need help and deserve it, have been waiting, for a year now for any kind of assistance. You give mom and pop shops a break on however this program works. They might each hire 2 or 3 employees, certainly family members, and then of course extended. This is good for the economy. I mean, you're talking about the possibility of 5 to 20 million people affected with jobs like that to the upside, and that's what this stimulus is also about. This 1.9 trillion stimulus seems to me, from where I sit up here, aimed at those folks who need the money for bills they've already got, not bills that they're going to get 3 months from now, bills they've received for the last 6 months and need help going through. So I see a lot of people being able to turn on their cell phones for the first time in months. I see a lot of folks being able to turn their internet on at home, or catch up with medical bills, maybe pick up prescriptions that they've been cutting back on. A lot of life necessities or necessities of life will be funded through this 1.9 trillion. It'll take about 6 to 8 months to permeate through the economy, but it will immediately be spent. Most of this will be immediately go into the economy and then circulate within. And this is good for the stock market. This is good for investors. This is good for the economy as a whole. Yeah, there's some thought that, wow, all that money sloshing around, you might have inflation. Well, I'll tell you, single mother with 3 kids, buying bread, medication, paying the phone bill, perhaps trying to catch up on rent, health insurance. I mean, you name the necessities. This is not inflationary. This is inflationary is when you buy something you don't really need at a higher price than you should be paying for it. So, Rolex watches, high-end jewelry, fancy property on the beach, the third car, you don't really need. Yeah, that's inflationary. I don't see a lot of this 1.9 trillion going there. I see a lot of this 1.9 trillion going into the heart of the economy. And the good news for America, as far as my American viewers are concerned, you buy a loaf of bread from your local grocery store, chances are all the ingredients of that loaf of bread are American. The labor to make the bread, American. The retailer selling the bread, wholesaling the bread, American. It's all USA, baby. So from the butter to the jelly to the bread to the peanut butter to the bologna to the ham, it's all domestic. And so you're talking about all this money churning over again and again and again within the USA's borders. We're not talking about importing brie cheese from France. That's not what this 1.9 trillion will go to. So sorry, France, you're not going to win on massive brie sales. The Costco's of the world are winners. Kmart or Walmart, let's say, I keep confusing Walmart with Kmart. Target, your local grocery stores, your 7-Elevens, your mom and pop outfits, they're all going to be the winners from this stimulus package. Absolutely domestically based, located, local. A lot of people out there are going to support local merchants because they know their town has just been decimated or their city has been decimated by this, and they're going to look for their favorite retailers and shop local. And it's a good thing. It's just a good thing. It just makes sense. Inflationary, yeah, possibly, but yeah, half a point, who cares? Like, who cares? Do you want to have 2% inflation, or do you want to not have 2% inflation and not be able to pay your rent? What would you rather have? Would you like to pay your rent on time, buy groceries on time, not have any hungry people in the house, have your medication? Or do you want to solve an inflation issue that might go up to 2.5%? Who cares about the 2? Who cares? Let it go. Let's go. Open up this economy and get it running. Let's overheat the U.S. economy. That's exactly what America could use right now, and Europe could use it. Japan could use it. A number of major economies could use some heat in their economies because these days we're operating at 80% efficiency. The unemployment rate, they say, is 6%. We all know it's more than that. A lot of folks working from home, scrambling to get through it. Let's throw too much money at the problem. I just laugh at opposition people who say, "Oh, well, that's too much money for the problem. We don't have to go big." I'm thinking, what are you talking about? Hit the grand slam home run and deal with the fan cheering later. Such problems. I mean, give me a break. I love how the very rich are going, we don't need it. We don't need that kind of help. I know you very rich people don't need that kind of help. Duh, you don't need any help. But the folks living under the bridge in downtown Las Vegas, yeah, they could use some help, like enough help to get out from under the bridge in Vegas and be in an apartment, for crying out loud, getting a day job, getting on their feet again. How many families right now that we hear about around the world are living in tents year-round? They're living in RVs that don't run, that are parked permanently on the side of roads, and only way to move an RV is to tow it somewhere to another spot that you're allowed to park it. How? Too many. There are too many of those. And there are so many folks who are working poor, which just really is staggering that That didn't happen when I was a kid. If you worked 40 hours a week, you survived. You might not be driving a Porsche or a Bentley, but you could feed yourself, you could clothe yourself, you could afford a doctor if you were ill. A 40-hour work week was a deal. That was a fair deal. You work 40 hours, you got to live a life. Today, no guarantees anymore. Got people out there working 2 or 3 part-time jobs, can't make a go of it. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That is undervalued labor. Someone's winning and someone's losing. And in the end, the society has to pay for the losers, because you either incarcerate them in prisons, which is, well, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands a year per prisoner, or you have to socially look after them. You have the food bank scenario. I mean, how many millions of billions of dollars of food are being given away to people who can't afford to buy it? I'd rather have people afford to buy it. So throw them too much money. Yeah, let them buy their own foods without having to line up at a food bank. Good idea. I like this idea. And have this turnover in the economy happen, which just creates taxation, creates more employment, creates more wealth. Hardworking folks find there are more customers for their services. This is a good thing. Let's go. Anyway, that's just Bruce ranting and raving first thing on a Monday morning. A couple of things I want to talk to you about. There's a new stock I wanted to make you aware of. The symbol is SVAC, Sam, Victor, Albert, Charlie. The company is called Starboard Value Acquisition Corp. It's a SPAC, and you want to take a look at this SPAC. You might want to pick this thing up. Let me punch in my quote here on my computer. SVAC. In the pre-market, let's see what it's doing. It's 11.81 on the pre-market, up 66 cents. This went public at $10 a share, like all SPACs do. And these guys are going to acquire a company. The word is they're going to acquire a company called, and I don't know how to pronounce this, but I'm going to try. I'm going to say it's Cyxtera, Cyxtera. All of these consonants, no vowels. Cyxtera, something like that. Cyxtera is a company that, private company that's going to be merged into this SPAC. They're going to take it over, and it'll be listed on the NASDAQ exchange. They run what are known as data centers or data farms. And for those of you who don't know what that means, most of you I think do, because a lot of you are much younger than I am, so you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Data farms are these buildings that are located in industrial malls where all these warehouses are, and it looks like a giant warehouse, except it is the most protected warehouse in the neighborhood, with razor wire all around the perimeter, security stations. You need a pass just to get into the parking lot. You want to get anywhere near the building, you need to be escorted in, and then you can only get into a certain part of the building. You want to go in further, you need to maybe wear a hazmat, clean suit. We're talking about the servers that run everything for every company out there, all the data that companies have. When we hear about data breaches, the hackers are trying to get into these servers inside these data farms. This company has 60 data farms that they run, and they're huge. This is a $3.5 billion deal to put together. And I think this SPAC is going to do really well. I think this SVAC is a winner right now. Winner, chicken dinner. 11.82 at the moment. I'm not sure what it's going to open at. This is pre-market I'm talking about. For the year or since its existence, it was as low as 9.65, as high as 11.56. This will be its new high. Do not be surprised if this thing breaks through $20 to $25. Not too long from now. I think that this business is a huge cash cow business, and this Starboard Value Acquisition, this SVAC, is going to be a winner. And if you can pick up a little bit of this and put it in your portfolio, just like our friends at Virgin Group Acquisition Corp and also over at Gore Holdings, this is exactly the same kind of strategy that I'm employing here. You pick it up now. They've announced what their intentions are. They know what they want to acquire. It'll take them 2 to 3 months to do the deal, but there could be movement in the stock between now and then. And it isn't $20 right now. It's 11 something, 12 something. I would buy it up to 15 without even thinking twice, and just put it in your portfolio, grab some, over to the side, and let's move on. I like that deal. There's another one that came out this morning that I'm not so sure about yet. I'm watching this one. I'm going to follow this one. I'm not sure if this one is worthy of our money yet or not. It is another SPAC called Fortress Value Acquisition. That symbol is FAII. So FAII is a symbol. This one trades on the New York Stock Exchange. And this one here sounds really interesting to me, but I'm not sure if the stock is going to do this well. The stock right now in the pre-market, 10.50, it's down $1.50. So it's actually around, it was around 13 bucks, I guess, pre-market, and may have closed at that 12 something range. But it's now 10.50. What they're doing is they're merging with a company called ATI Physical Therapy. And some of you know who this company is if you've ever been injured and you need to get physical therapy. They have over 860 physical therapy centers across, I think, the USA, if I'm not mistaken. So there are a lot of neighborhoods in the USA that have one of these facilities, ATI Physical Therapy. They're merging that entity into the SPAC, but the deal isn't as sexy as I'd like it to be. That's where I'm having an issue. The stock deal isn't grabbing my attention and I think the street might be reacting somewhat negatively so far, because yes, they are merging the company in, and yes, they are going to get 300 and something million from the SPAC cash. And they're doing a $300 million bought deal on top of that. So there's 650 million cash available to the new company, but the money is going to be primarily utilized to pay off debt of ATI. And that's where I'm kind of going, oh, I'm like, oh, this sounds like a great deal. They're just going to pay off debt. They're not using it to expand the company. They're not using it to develop it further. So yes, the public company and ATI will have a very clean balance sheet with this cash coming in. They'll pay off, IOUs that they have, and I can get it, because if you've built 860 individual therapy centers, just like Gamestop, you've got a lot of real estate you're handling, right? You have a lot of leases to handle. You have a lot of legals to deal with each of these. Each of these deals has their own lease. You need a lawyer to, with the legal team to go through all the documentation for each location. We're not talking about opening up a shop to sell wool. We're talking about opening a shop that offers medical services. You're talking about a whole complicated set of licensing requirements for the city, the town, the county, the state. You're dealing with all kinds of needs with respect to handling any kind of medication in there, if there is anything like that, or if there's any other equipment that needs special handling. You need a special kind of property. You need a special kind of lease deal. These aren't going to be pop-up stores. These are long-term health centers. You need parking availability. You need access for folks with disabilities. I mean, you're going in for physical therapy. You're not dancing in there on ballerina shoes. You're probably going in with a cane or a crutch or two. I mean, you're recovering from something, an operation, an accident, whatever it might be. And so you need special property and you need special legals to handle every one of these leases. And that's 860 plus, they're talking about going to 900. So something tells me they've inherited a lot of debt to open up these centers. And now they're going to bring in 600 million in cash to bring their debt load way down, which cleans the balance sheet up beautifully. They're cash flowing money. Yes, they're generating hundreds of millions in fees. They're being paid by people directly out of their pocket, and then through insurance companies and that type of thing. And so it's a going concern, but the reality is that the owners of the going concern are going to be the winners, because right now they own a private company with a lot of debt. They're going to own a public company with not a lot of debt, but the public company isn't going to have 500 million to expand their business with. Now, having said all that, being that negative, the stock is sitting at $10.47. That's only 47 cents above its SPAC price. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 15, 20 anyway, because the analysts out there, stock analysts, are going to come up in a few months after it's all merged and done, and they're going to say, okay, on the initial deal, they raised 650 million and leveraged the company down beautifully. They're in a strong position. Their debt levels are very manageable. Interest rates on the debt are probably, pittance. And this is a business that isn't going away. I mean, the age of baby boomers, we're getting older. This country's getting older, and more of us need physical therapy for our hips, our knees, our joints, our back, our neck, wrist, arms. I mean, you name it. We're a basket case. And so these entities will do well. And now this is a publicly listed entity, and they now can do acquisitions of other entities and or make other deals. So with the company going public and having currency called shares to use, this public company can now become an even larger, more dominant public company. But by the way, they're right now the largest independent physical therapy center operator in America. They're already number one. And now this company is going public. So in the medical field, you folks out there who follow medical stocks, you know that there is no downturn in business. That doesn't happen. People need physical therapy from whatever the issues they have. They have to go in. And I also believe that they're in they might be involved in kidney dialysis, this kind of work as well. I don't see these guys slowing up at all. I see their business growing, each center continuing to grow its services and raise its capital, and they never cut prices. And you never have a sale at these places. Unlike a store like a wool shop, you might have 20% off everything in the store, but not with the physical therapy center. They don't have discounts. It's always full price, and they get paid through the insurance companies, and those checks don't bounce. So I like that deal from a number of viewpoints. I'm not crazy about it in other viewpoints, but all in all, at $10.50 a share, FAII, I think you can be pretty safe picking some of that up as well. You're getting that as close to $10 as you're ever going to get it. And just be patient. Pick it up, and if it takes you 3 or 6 months to get a $4 or $5 or $6 profit, hey, what's wrong with 40 to 60% return on this deal? I say nothing. But I will admit that SVAC, the Starboard Value Acquisition, I really like that one. This data farm business, I think that that this company here, now that they're going to become public and well-funded, they're going to be probably expanding dramatically. And cash flows coming in from data farms are growing. They're not declining. They're not receding. They're just getting juicier and juicier. And these are the kind of places that get refurbished all the time. I mean, they just finished building out, I don't know, 70,000 square feet of data farm. And what do they do now? They're refurbishing all the equipment all over again, because every 2 to 3 years, everything in the high-tech world is regurgitated and reinvented, and it's faster and cheaper and has more memory and more power. Data farms are constantly revolving, and their prices are reflecting that, and they get it. You must have, if you're any kind of a corporation with data on your customers or on your affairs, you've got to have a server farm to protect your information, including all your shareholder information, all of your stock information, your banking information. Every bank, airline, bus company, car company, rental company, hotel, anyone, every business, period, one way or another, if you're part of the cloud, and a lot of us are heading in that direction, a lot of companies are going to the cloud, server farms, that's what you need. So this is, I think, a very exciting deal. And I'm looking forward to hearing a lot more about it. I just heard about these deals in the last hour, and you're one of the first to know. Welcome to Stock Markets with Bruce, where I try to tell you what's going on in plain English. And it's the best I can. There's a lot happening out there, and you deserve to know the real deal of what is going on in a simple, easy way to understand format. I do have, and I apologize, there seem to be some yahoos here this morning that are causing a bit of grief on my chat. I will eliminate them as quickly as I can as I see them. I'm doing what I can do. Some of these guys are ganging up on me because they got nothing better to do. They've already done their chores. Mommy gave them chores to do. They've done their chores, and now they're wreaking havoc on chats like mine, trying to use nasty little words and post the same message again and again and again. I'm trying to stay on them, but when I get on a rant, you can't stop me. Mia's ideas. Morning, Uncle Bruce. Just a heads up. Bots and spammers are on overdrive today. Lots of hate-fueled rhetoric on your chat. There we go. I will keep searching here to see if I can eliminate them. Thank you for that, and I apologize to all of you who are offended by these people. But then again, you know and I know what they are. Children who are not in class, who didn't study properly, and who actually think that they're causing wonderful things to happen in the world by doing what they're doing. Idiots. It's too bad. It's really you know, sometimes, you know, what we could use is a mandatory draft. You know, I kind of wonder about that. Maybe it's time to have a draft again in the United States. And at age 16, 17, you got to go in for a draft for 2 years, and you know, become a man and come back and toughen up. I don't know. I mean, again, this is an old man talking. Okay, I'm just an old guy. And what can I say? Anyway, GameStop. Let's talk about GameStop. We were here Friday. Those of you who were here with me Friday after the close for the afternoon show, we were watching GameStop. The news came out that a certain gentleman picked up another 50,000 shares of GameStop. And we think he got them around $38.50 or $39 a share, just on the low of the day, Friday. And on the aftermarket, they went to $43 a share. Right now, $46.14, up $5.55 from Friday's close, because Friday the shares did reach over 40 again. I don't know if this is going to hold during the day or not. I'm really not sure if this is going to go, but we are noticing a $5 gain on 1.2 million shares or 1.1 million shares of volume. Not enough to get really excited about, but that's what we're seeing. We're going to see what happens here. Will this create a bit more momentum to get the shares over 50 again? I don't know. This could peter out in an hour after the opening and just kind of sit back at 42, 42. I can't say for sure. I will say that it's a positive overall, because what you have here is a guy in front of Congress who said, I like the company, I like the stock, I'll be buying more, and he put his money where his mouth is. He picks up 50,000 more shares, and that's probably the highest price he's ever paid for this stock. Keep in mind that he was buying this stuff last year. I think he bought a bunch in the $5 to $10 neighborhood, and now he's picking up stock here in the 40 range. So that's a $2 million buy, and I think that's something to make note of. All right. So GameStop, we'll see what happens there. We're opening up in about 18 minutes or so, waiting to see how the markets want to start the day. The Dow down 152 are the early indications at the moment. S&P down 25 or 26 points. NASDAQ showing 162. Cheers to all of you who are here today, joining me from around the world. I appreciate you being here today. Thank you for supporting this channel and throwing thumbs ups our way. We do appreciate it. We are very grateful for all your support, and we're just going to keep on top of these markets. Trolls be damned. We'll do the best we can. Oh my! There you go. Thank you, everybody. A number of you have asked me from time to time, do I do private consultations? And the answer is yes, I do. I do offer 1 hour private chats. If you'd like to become part of that, you can. You need to send me an email on my email address, which I will post up here in a moment. You can, here we go, right here. You can send me a private email. Say, Bruce, I'd like to talk to you privately. I offer a 1 hour service at a minimum. It's a $400 US for an hour. And what I will do is I will set up a chat just like this show. I literally create a YouTube show for the two of us on a private setting. And I set it up so that half the screen is me and the other half is you. And we're talking to each other just like a Zoom call, but through this StreamYard service on a private basis. And you can show me anything you want me to look at. I would like to then find out, well, how old are you? What's your situation? A lot of folks come to me and say, look, I just need some advice as to what am I doing? What am I doing? Is it right or am I wrong? Here's what I think I should be doing. Here's where I've been. Here's where I am. Here's where I think I'm going. What do you think? You're an outsider. To help me analyze my life and my investments. And I'm more than happy to to try to help you. And so if you're interested in becoming, having me provide a 1 hour or so private consultation with you, contact me on my email right there, and I'll contact you back, and we'll see what we can set up. I usually am doing this Saturdays and Sundays. This past weekend, I had a number of people I've looked after. It was very enjoyable. I have a couple of weeknights where I can offer it as well, but very few. Can't do anything on Mondays because today I'll be live twice on this show, this channel, and I'll be live twice over on Traveling with Bruce. So I'm on the air almost all day. But Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, for sure, I can probably handle one person a night, maybe two. But on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, I'm able to set up a schedule. And so if you're interested, let me know, and I'll book you a slot as soon as possible, and we'll go from there. Okay, so let me know if you'd like to have that. Nathan, thank you for this donation. Stonks, he says, right on. Fantastic, guys. Let's see. Let's go. Help me analyze my life, Bruce. Oh my gosh. Like I say, a lot of us, when you get to a certain age, you realize, oh man, have I been through the ringer already? Am I doing it right or not? What's going to happen? From the outside looking in, it's easier for me sometimes than when you're inside the life itself. You get an outsider to come in and say, oh, okay, well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Have you, let's review kind of where things are going here. And it's always good for some people. It's good to take stock of where you're at, and if I can help in any way, fantastic. All righty, there you go. What else is going on? MG Toe saying thumbs ups, everyone, for Bruce. Thank you very much. Someone saying here, GameStop is selling graphics cards now. Yes, they're expanding their offerings on their website. I am hearing this from a number of people. This I'm finding interesting. I'm not surprised. I'm kind of happy to hear about it. But I think GameStop is going to have a much wider, diverse selection of merchandise that they're not going to have in their stores. They're going to have it on site, online, and we'll be able to ship worldwide to anyone. By the way, thank you all of you who are giving me thumbs ups for this live show. We're at 341 now. Fantastic that you can support me with a thumbs up. There are no charge to hand out. So if you got one lying around, throw a thumbs up for this show and help this show get found by others on YouTube. I do appreciate it. The more people that find out about the show, the more watch it, and the more that watch what we're up to, the more they're going to hear about the stocks that we're fond of, and that's just a good thing. The more people hear the GameStop story, the better, because the only story that people are hearing about on GameStop are the GameStop trading phenomena stories, which are not have nothing to do with GameStop, the corporation. It's just the GameStop, the stock symbol. And unfortunately, there's a lot of media out there that just wants to slam GameStop because the stock went up and came back down. And it's all the fault of you, the retail investor. Ridiculous. Not the case whatsoever. Again, thank you for these thumbs up. I know we're pushing over 400 now already. You guys are great. I know you respond to me when I do it, and I should mention it more often, but I really thank you for throwing thumbs ups for these shows. It means a lot. AB, thank you for this donation. What do you think of the king of SPACs, Klamath? I can't pronounce that last name. CP and his SPACs. He seems to have several out at each time, like Gore. I like this guy. I like this guy a lot. I would love to have him as a guest on my show sometime. Hey, if anybody knows him, tell him Uncle Bruce would love to have him on as a guest. I would love to talk to him about SPACs. I loved the interview he had on CNBC talking about GameStop and how people were not allowed to buy the stock. He was not a fan of that. Yeah, I like this guy. I like guys just like this. I like entrepreneurs. I love SPACs. I love them. I think that this is it's a way for people to get into a public company at such a good deal. Whereas you want to buy that deal that went public, just 2 weeks ago, there was a company that went public called, what was it? Bumble Inc. BMBL, that's the stock symbol. They went public at 70-something. No, they went public at 40-something a share, and the stock opened at 76. That was the first price you were allowed to buy at, $76-something. It's 71 right now. So congratulations, retail investors. You're down $6 on the stock 3 weeks after listing. And who made all the money? The brokerage firms, Wall Street, all our friends, all their favorite clients, of which you are none. Yeah, they're the ones. All the institutions, all the pension funds, they were offered stock at 40-something bucks a share on the IPO, and they made out like bandits. And who are the saps? The ones who bought on the IPO, the first trades. Stock went from like 70-something to 80-something. Everybody is upside down, is not going anywhere on this deal. Here with a SPAC, I'm telling you about two right now, and the other two I've talked about already. You can get into these deals. You've been able to get into these deals for under 20 bucks a share, and you know what they're going to become with the merger. I like that deal. I consider that a fair proposition. I'm prepared to recommend to you guys, take a chance on a stock that's 12 to 18 bucks a share with a known business they're going to buy, a business you can look up on Google yourself, and you can see everything about these companies that are now going to merge in. And you can do all your due diligence on your own, easily done. And I'm thinking, you know what? The odds of you losing money are pretty low. I don't see these stocks going to $1 a share. Not a chance. You got a $3 billion company enterprise value and 500 to $1 billion bucks cash in that public company. They're not going to $1 a share. There's too much hedge fund money in this deal at 10 bucks a share for these to go to $1 a piece. There's no way. I'm just dumbfounded and amazed that there are so many so-called professional analysts out there that are poo-pooing SPACs. They just go, oh, there's going to be a day of reckoning. I'm going, give me a break. DraftKings was a SPAC. It's a $50, $60 deal. There have been tons of examples of winners, but all they want to highlight are the 3, the 4, the 5 that aren't doing so well yet. And they're trading at 2 to 8 bucks a share or whatever. They haven't gone to 50 bucks a share. And because they didn't, they're losers. I'm going, give me a break. And the mentality of these analysts is, well, if you buy Apple, you're buying for the long-term benefit of the corporation, and you're buying into the long-term plan of the corporation. But if you buy a SPAC, you better triple your money in a month, or it's a dog. And I'm just going, what is that? Why is this kind of allowable, time frame allowable here, but not here? I say, hey, buy a SPAC at 12 bucks, 14 bucks, 16 bucks, and they announced their deal. I think in a year or two, I think you got to give them that much time. If you're being reasonable, if a stock gives you a $15 buy-in price and a $30 sell price in 3 weeks, God bless every one of you. Take the money and run. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Guess what? You're now what the brokers are on Wall Street. You help the company fund itself, and then you help them with an IPO, and you got out at the high. That's what Wall Street does all the time. That's okay. But you as a retail investor, oh, no. You can't do that. You're not allowed to. You're supposed to be the long-term holder of stocks. You're not allowed to make money like Wall Street makes money. I go, come on, get real. So yeah, these deals, I like these deals. I don't generally get excited about SPACs without a deal. A SPAC is created and starting to trade. Okay, I might look at the management of the SPAC and go, well, I like these guys. So, okay, there's some credibility here, but I really like to see what the deal is going to be, and that's why I love that Gores Holding deal. GHVI, Gores Holding Venture number 6. I like that deal. Matterport, 3D imaging software. What a potential that company has. Yeah, I like that deal. The stock market is already liking that deal. The street's liking that deal right now, even before the finalization of the deal. But the deal's been announced, and it's sitting at $23.35 right now, which unfortunately, good news. I have viewers who bought it at 14, 16, 17, 18, and they're up. The bad news is I was hoping this stock would come back into this 14, 15 range, 16 range, and you'd have more time to get it. But it did pop to almost 25 on Friday evening. Now it's at 23.35. I'm kind of hoping it'll give up a few bucks and give people another shot. But I suspect that Gores Holdings, that GHVI, it might reach between 30 and 50 bucks a share by the time the deal is finalized and up and trading, because there's that much momentum behind it. There's some serious momentum coming into that stock. That is a stock a lot of people are going to be talking about going forward, I'm pretty sure. Let's see here. We're going to keep getting rid of some of these losers that are coming in here. I'm doing the best I can. Here we go. A couple more. Obviously, I've got the hottest show on YouTube right now because I have attracted morons to the show that are just desperate to be involved and just get their voices heard, and just wishing for something. What can I say? I will eliminate them as I see them and kick them out. Hopefully we'll get them all out of here and just let them go somewhere else. Apologize for these morons. We'll do the best we can, but they do come in packs, like wolf packs, and they will attack a channel and try everything they can to disrupt everything they can to, just get in the middle of it all. And you just have to, bear with me as I yak away, talking about what I love to talk to you about, and I'll turn my attention to them here from time to time and try to eliminate them from existence if I can. AB, thank you for this donation. If I'm looking for a short-term profit, should I sell when the SPAC goes from 12 to 25, or is it wiser to wait and see post-merger? What kind of growth do you imagine will go in 3 to 12 months? Well, AB, this is the thing. Each deal is different. I mean, once the SPAC has announced their deal, some react right away, some don't. And you've got to ask yourself, what are you here for? And I see nothing wrong with someone buying between 12 and 17, 18 a share and then getting out at 24 to 30. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. You made some money on it. You keep your eye on it on the side. If it backs off again and the merger is still coming and you like that it's solidifying or finding a new base, you buy it again. Maybe there's a second opportunity. If you're a longer term patient investor, long-term value investor, you picked it up at 12, 13. It's now gone to the 25 range, 28 range. Well, theoretically, you could write an option against it. If you want to write an option, you could maybe write a 30 or a 33, good for a month or so. But I would really wait for the merger to be completed, the new company to be, vended in, the stock symbol change. Now it's the new deal. Give them a month or so that they're a public company. Let them announce all the news they want to talk to you about, and then see what happens. Because if the shares are in the 25 to 27 range, and now this thing is done, opens up with a new name the next morning, and a month or 2 or 3 later, maybe you're 35, 45, and then at that point you either get out or you're writing options up there and taking premium money. You've got all the control when you own it, and you've paid cash for it. You're not going to be blown out. I think that's a smart move to make. But patience sometimes. But what's wrong with a flip? Nothing. If you're here listening to me looking for a day trade, I understand. And if you get a day trade, I mean, look, you're buying an issue that I talk about. You go, I think I'm going to buy a couple hundred shares of that. And it goes stupid. Sell it. Yeah, of course. Take the money. Absolutely. I can't fault you for that. Commodore, welcome. And thank you for that donation. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Double check a few others. I'm looking at all these comments, and everyone is here. Thank you guys for being here, following me, and sorry for having to tolerate morons. What can I say? They're out there, and they don't quite know what it's like to be an adult yet. They have no clue. What can I say? SPAC. Can you explain what a SPAC is? Commodore wants to know. Special Acquisition Corporation. It's a company that is created by a group of investors that'll put some seed money together, usually a couple of $1 million. They'll incorporate a company whose sole purpose is to to raise money at about $10 a unit, raise anywhere from 200 to 500 million bucks or more, and then to find a private company to vend in effect, do a reverse takeover of, and they'll find a private company that's up and running. They'll offer the public vehicle they've created, to merge the two together. So now the private company gets all the cash in that public company, and a really good deal usually gets a secondary financing done as part of the deal as a sweetener. And that's what I'm talking about here with some of these deals here, where the SPAC had a $300 million balance in its bank account, which is sitting in treasury notes in trust. the public company, the SPAC, must find a private company within 2 years to merge into, or they have to give back all the money. And that's the risk that the SPAC people are taking, or putting up the first couple of million to start this whole thing. They're spending all the legals and all the filing fees to get the company up and running. They're raising $300 million, goes into trust. They can't touch it. And then they find a private company, they work a deal, and the private company goes, great, we'll come into your company. But on top of that, we have Wall Street that loves our company, and the SPAC people have Wall Street that loves the people in the SPAC. And the Wall Street guys say, oh, we love this idea of merging this company into this public corporation. We'll raise you another $300 million on a bought deal, done deal. So the minute you're publicly traded, you got $600 million to play with instead of $300 million to play with. And that just gives momentum to this public company, really good momentum. I've seen deals where they go public with $1 billion cash in hand. And that one of those is the 23andMe and the Virgin Group Acquisition Corp, the VGAC. That one I like too. They're going to be funded with almost $1 billion cash from some serious Wall Street backing, and that's only the beginning of it. So I like, that's the kind of SPACs I like. That's what a SPAC is, a special acquisition corporation, a company that is a private company going into a public company that is sitting on a bunch of cash looking for an acquisition, and it ends up being a reverse takeover. The private company is the one worth the money, $2 billion value, $2.5 billion value. They're the ones taking over the public company. Now, when it's all said and done, this new public company, 80% of the company is owned by the private people, 20% of the company is owned by the SPAC investors. And off we go. We're trading on the open market, and it's either NASDAQ or New York Stock Exchange listed. Another feather in the cap, a feather of legitimacy is what I call it. We're open. The markets have just opened up. Let's see what's going on here. Gores Holdings trading at 24.46 now on the morning right now. The Dow is down 168 to start. Watching Jim Cramer here talking about the markets. We're down for the fifth day. Well, you know, down on the opening. Maybe we're up in the evening. S&P down 25. NASDAQ down 160. I'm just going to refresh my computer, make sure that everything here is accurate and up to speed. And let me take a look over here on my phone and double check. Yes, Gores Holdings 24.28 is where it's trading at right now. Virgin Group 12.90. That's a buy. That's definitely buy range. GameStop at 46.41, up 5.82 officially on the day from Friday's close. Good to see that. We'll see if there's any sustainability there, or if this is temporary. What else is going on? AMC's up 24 cents to 5.94. Bed Bath & Beyond down 2 cents. BlackBerry down 14 cents. Excuse me. The Dow down 179 to start the day. That's where we are right now. Over on the SVAC, this would be the Starboard Value Acquisition, 1173, up 58 cents. That is a buy. That I like a lot. Anything under $15, pick that one up and put it away. I think you've got a winner there. And then over at the other one, FAII, the Fortress Value, $10.50 a share, down $1.60. That is a buy. That is 50 cents above the issue price of the units, and I think there's value there. This ATI Physical Therapy Center acquisition, I think in the at the end of the day, you will make money on this deal. That's just personal opinion. I don't own any stocks myself. Those of you who are here who know me, I'm just commenting on what's going on. I'm giving you what I think is a good move, but I don't own any shares of any company. I don't own any options. I have no conflict of interest. I'm just here to give you what I think, what I sense is an okay deal, and that's what we're going to do. I'm going to follow it like that. So again, thank you all of you for being here and following me, and hope you're doing well. I want you to make lots of money, and if you do get rich because of me, well, think of me. Don't forget this guy. I appreciate it. Some of you who've been making donations to this channel, you just blow my mind. Thank you again, all of you. Now, what else is going on? I also talking to a few folks this weekend about some ideas, certain other investment ideas. I have a couple more I want to throw at you this morning. I want to recommend to some of you to keep an eye on a couple of other stocks that you might be that might interest you. Just a minute. I just got another loser I have to say goodbye to here. Poor bugger. This poor child. Parents just didn't look after this kid, obviously. Very sad. The stocks that I'm also recommending, I am kind of getting a liking towards IBM. IBM, International Business Machines. We're talking old school here, kids. IBM. Take a look at IBM the next chance you get. And please note that the shares, even at $118 a piece, they have a 19-time earning multiple. That's like really low. They have a yield. If you buy the stock for the dividend, you're going to yield 5.48%, almost 5.5% on your money just holding Big Blue. But this Big Blue is a whole different company today than it was a year ago. There's new management in town. And the new management in town, they're not interested in buying back stock like the company's been doing for over a decade. This company has bought back more than 60% of all the stock that was once outstanding. This new management, they want to grow the value of this company. This company right now, market cap, $106 billion. Sounds like a lot of money. Isn't a lot of money. Apple at $2.2 trillion, 22 times more valuable than IBM. Microsoft, a gazillion times more valuable than IBM. Microsoft is at $1.78 trillion. IBM has a long way to go, and the new management that's running that company is exactly the kind of company you want. I think there's going to be some serious upside here for the stock. They are doing a deal with Palantir. They own Red Hat. They're heavily into the cloud, and they are a leader in the cloud. And I think this is where the market is not yet fully appreciating what IBM is really up to. And you might be a bit early getting in now, but picking up IBM at these levels here, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. The high and low for the stock over the last 52 weeks, all-time high in the last 52 weeks, not all-time, but $148. The low 90, and right here at 119 a share. This is a stock with very little downside, virtually none. Pick up some IBM, and if you have to hold it for a while, enjoy the 5.5% yield. You're welcome, because you're not going to get that in a GIC. But if I'm right, you might see yourself with a $150 to $200 stock not too far down the road within the year. That's my personal opinion. But I like everything I hear and see about what's going on at IBM, today's IBM. And we're going to see how this plays itself out. All right, that's what I see there. Another one that I like Microsoft. Good old Microsoft. They were kind of sleepy for the last 5 years or so ago. Up until about a year or two ago, they were very sleepy for almost a decade. Now I really like what I see at Microsoft. 35 times earnings. Yeah, that's high in historical sense, but not for these guys. These guys are on a tear. Cloud computing. Big time. I like what I see at Microsoft. They are quickly growing. And then I like Home Depot. The folks at Home Depot, I mean, we're talking boring stuff here. Home Depot, this company's shares were accelerating at a much better clip than they are lately before the COVID thing hit. But since COVID, they had the drop like everyone else in March. They've recovered that, and they're still climbing in value, but not as fast as they were. And yet, the earnings per quarter are substantially higher than they've ever been, and I don't see this backing off. I think that Home Depot is an absolute winner. Retail, yes, they are retail, but you know what? When you buy a can of paint, you got to pick it up at the store, because you got to get it mixed up right there by the machine. You got to mix that paint. You got to go to the retail store to buy it. You want to test the brushes. You want to talk to the person behind the counter for expertise. Contractors cannot Amazon order lumber. You can't do it. You got to pick it up. And these guys are the masters of this. 23.8 times earnings. Might be a tad rich, but not with the earnings that are coming. I think that this thing is available. There's maybe 50% upside on HD in the not too distant future. These are three that I would definitely take a good look at. Now, something a little off the path, and it's an ETF. There's an ETF I'm recommending. an exchange-traded fund. It is known as the VanEck Vector Semiconductor Fund. This is an ETF that owns stocks of companies that are making computer chips. There's a computer chip shortage globally right now, not in the US, not at just Ford. It's a global chip shortage for the latest, hottest, newest version of chips. And instead of trying to find the company that's the right one to buy in that sector, you pick up the ETF. The symbol is SMH, Sam Mother Henry is the name of is a symbol, stock symbol for this ETF. You pick this thing up, and I think you're going to do really well with the continued upswing in demand for computer chips. There are just not enough companies making them fast enough to go around, and I think there's going to be some real opportunity here to make some money. The stocks that this entity holds, some of the entities. This, by the way, it's a $250 SPAC right now, not SPAC, but ETF, $250. The holdings of this unit. Number one holdings would be Taiwan Semiconductor, the hottest manufacturer of chips, including all chips for Apple now being made here. NVIDIA, they're coming up with earnings later this week. Instead of buying the stock, buy this ETF instead. They've got 6% of their entire value is in NVIDIA. ASML Holdings, Broadcom, Advanced Micro, Texas Instruments, Intel, Qualcomm, Micron, Analog Devices, NXP Semiconductors, Allied Materials. I could go on and on. All the names of the chip sector are in this ETF, and I think you're going to do just fine picking up this ETF as a broad holder. Hang on for a month, 6 months, a year. I think we've got ourselves a chip shortage that will last several years here. And these chip companies, every chip they produce is pre-sold. They don't discount anything. They don't have to discount anything. There's a demand for chips that they can't satisfy. And so every chip is going out at top retail, top money, cash payment. No credit terms need to be negotiated here. We're talking about, unlike the car business where you can get a car for 0 interest for 6 years, 8 years, there's no zero financing on chips. It's cash or you don't get it, because I got 20 other customers holding their hands out going, I need chips, here's my money. Pick up the ETF, and I think you could do rather well on that. So there's a few recommendations for you from yours truly today. A couple of SPACs to look at, new, and some stocks that I like, old school, current school, new school, whatever. I think there's some potential here. Do not worry about inflation. Don't worry about a market crash. There is so much cash coming into the economy right now, oodles of cash coming into the economy, that the market is going to do very, very well. Keep in mind also that the demand for chips, to get back to that story, it's not just for cars. It's for every laptop, every cell phone, gaming systems. Sony can't get the chips they need for their PlayStation 5. You cannot use chips that are 5 years old in the PlayStation 5. You cannot use them in the Xbox. You got to have cutting edge. You have to have the power. You have to have the drive. That's why the chip area is hot. And go with an ETF like this one, and I think you're going to be just fine. Anyway, there you go. There's some thoughts from this guy, Uncle Bruce, here in Creston, British Columbia, giving you some ideas. See what we're all about. Just seeing a breaking headline here: battery maker Enovix going public with a 1.1 billion SPAC merger. That's kind of small. I see SPAC mergers at the 2 to 3 billion range. I kind of like deals like that. I'm not sure if I'm all that crazy about a $1 billion SPAC merger. That might not be, quote, good enough for me. Maybe I'm a bit too picky about it, but I kind of want a $2-3 billion company with 500 million or more in cash on hand. I kind of like that kind of deal. Maybe it's just me, but I'm a bit picky. But I'll look at that deal as later today. See if there's something to it. GameStop, 45.76, 45.80, kind of near the high. Well, it's not that super high. It was at 47.84 for the high of the day, so it's off a couple bucks, but it's hanging in there. A volume of barely 1 million shares. That is not all that inspiring to have that little volume on GameStop at 46 bucks a share right now. Sorry, 3.8 million shares traded. Yeah, it's medium volume. But I will say that I like the company long term. I like where they're headed. I like what they're going to be doing. It's just going to be interesting to see how these shares perform as the day wears on. Once this initial high dissipates a bit from the acquisition of 50,000 more shares the other day by our friend over there. You think I could remember his name? I can't remember his name. I'm constantly not remembering his name. What can I say, folks? It's not easy when you get this old. You remember certain things, you forget other things. Like I'm trying to forget these trolls. I'm trying to forget these guys. What can I say, folks? Sorry about having been attacked today by trolls, but it tells me we must be doing something right because we're being discovered by, in some cases, the wrong kind of people. But what can I say? What are we going to do? We're doing what we can. Roaring Kitty, that's right. It's Roaring Kitty. Keith Gill, thank you, Christopher. Keith Gill, thank you. Pen. Oh, man. Keith Gill. Why do I not remember that name? It's like a block. I don't get it. GME, Keith Gill. All right. I've got too many other things to figure out at the same time. Maybe that's the problem. Thank you guys for helping me out. Appreciate it. Best thing to do with trolls is ignore them. We do the best we can, and we try to eliminate them and just block them from the channel. And hopefully we've been able to knock them off for a bit here. We'll see. Sometimes they show up in fives. You'll get 5 guys, and they'll all do the same announcement, repeated, and then they'll wait a few minutes and they'll do it again. And then sometimes I once had on my other channel, I once had 32 trolls show up at one time and just overtake my chat, 32 of them. And they all gave the show a thumbs down right away. And so we had like 8 thumbs ups and 32 down just to start the show. And they thought that they were going to knock me off the air. And I just systematically just started deleting them as I saw them come through. And about an hour later, they were gone, and the show was showing 150 thumbs ups and 32 down. There were no more thumbs downs because there were just 32 of these morons, and they're gone. And so that's that. Off we go. There you go. Mia's Ideas. Thank you for this donation. Check it out. Canadian research develop advanced technology, including AI chips, AI algorithms, AI architectures, and chip integration. There you go. There's a recommendation from Mia's Ideas. Let's see here. More people will know who you are talking about if you say DFV instead of Keith Gill. DFV. There you go. If I could remember that. Pen. DFV. All righty. Thank you. I'll do what I can. All righty. Yes. Whoa. IBM considering sale of health division. That's right. The Watson Health division, that area, they're thinking of selling it. It's not making them any money. They don't make any money with it. But that could give them a swack of cash. And with that cash, they can continue to go on acquisitions, which is what IBM has been doing. They picked up Red Hat. Now they're making this deal with Palantir. I think IBM is on to the right side of the equation here. I like what they're doing. We'll see what's going on. What else is going on? Here we go, Pete. That DFV YOLO update after the hearing was epic. I screamed out loud like a Stone Age warrior charging into battle. He's a legend. There you go. There you are. There you go. My thumbs ups. Thank you, David, for thumbs ups. I appreciate that. We love it. Let's see here. Unky Bruce, have you already sent the GameStop postcards? They're out there. People have been getting them. I hope everyone's getting theirs. I'm still holding my GameStop. This is a fun ride. GameStop, $48. Let's take a look here. Where are we at now? Get this to pop up here. Yeah, $47.89 now on GameStop, up $7. We're up almost 20%, 18% on the day now on GameStop today. That's a good sign. Definitely picking up a bit of momentum. I'm happy about this. I'd love to see it break through that $50 resistance level and see what it can put in behind it. Again, there's not a lot of stock for sale on GameStop. I mean, the first $10 a share, you'll eat whatever's out there. And after that, there's going to be gaps. It's a question of just what kind of momentum can the stock get through here. We'll see what's happening. Travis, Keith Gill, double down. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Let's see here. What's going on with the Virgin VGAC 1275? That is buy territory. That's what's going on there. They're in the middle of all that paperwork to put the merger together between 23andMe and this SPAC. Pick this stuff up if you haven't already. Gore's Holdings, 25.30, up 84 cents. It is not backing off here. Rather interesting. Josh Brown on the halftime report mentioned that he owns it. He now is into this deal. The first time he's ever bought a SPAC. From the creation of a SPAC and to the announcement of a deal, he usually waits till the deal is done before he gets in. This is the first time he's ever gotten in pre-merger completion. That's a sign he likes this deal, and he had to get in now. He couldn't wait. Interesting. James, you got it right. Just hang in there on VGAC. Just sit tight and watch the story. Let's see what's going on. Two more SPACs to talk to you about. Like I mentioned earlier this morning, there are two new ones now that I'm talking about. The first one is this one right here, FAII. It is called Fortress Value Acquisition, FAII, on the New York Stock Exchange, trading at 1060 today, down $1.50. Do not let that scare you. I would buy this at this price for sure. They are acquiring a company that's called ATI Physical Therapy. They have 860 and going to 900 physiotherapy centers across America, the largest operator of the physiotherapy business. And this deal is being funded to another $300 million. There'll be $650 million going into the combined company. And this will take ATI to a much stronger cash position with wiping out of practically their most of their debt. This allows them to expand even more. So this one I definitely get at these prices. It's attractive. And then the other one I like is this one called Starboard Value Acquisition Corp. The symbol SVAC, trading at 11.27 right now, up 13 cents. This is a screaming buy. This company is merging with an outfit called Cyxtera, SCYXTERA, CYXTERA, Cyxtera Technologies. Those guys own data centers, 60 data centers in the U.S., North America, I believe. This is a huge cloud business with all the data centers they are operating. I like this deal a lot. $3.4 billion enterprise value deal upon a merger at $11.29, $11.30 a share. Under $15, you buy this one, and I think you're going to do very, very well. This will get street attention over the next few weeks. I'm pretty sure of that. Okay, so there you have. Those are the two that I'm adding to my list of likes. I'm just going to now double check into this. I'm going to add these into my things. So just wait, bear with me here. I'm working here. I'm working. He's working. There we go, and we'll add that to watch list, and then we're going to do another one. And there it is up there. We're going to go boom, 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 boom. And that's FAII, Fortress Value Acquisition Corp. That's the other one I'm adding to my watch list. Those are two that I recommend you folks to get your hands on as well. All righty. So you heard it from yours truly. And let's see how they do going forward. These SPACs, I love these SPACs when they make announcements that, come with additional funding from Wall Street, hedge funds, you name it. I love deals like that are well-funded right off the bat and have operating entities already that are already cash flowing. You're not looking for 5 years for them to make their first sale. They're already doing their sales. Some of these are about to turn into a massive profit position, and you're a ground floor investor. Unlike an IPO, where you're offered you're allowed to buy the stock after the IPO is done, and in some cases you can pay almost double the price that the IPO came out at. Wow, thanks a lot. Thanks for the opportunity to sink way more money into a deal than anyone else and be the last guy in to pay the highest price. We're here. Hey, folks, you're paying a little above the creators of this company. I agree. The $10 unit holders are the guys who got the deal, but they bought completely a shell with no idea what was going to happen. You're buying a shell where you know exactly what's going to happen. The knowledge that you have is invaluable. and you're going to be a shareholder in a merged corporation with a pile of capital and a whole bunch of opportunity to make subsequent deals right after the merger is complete. So I like these deals. There you go. So there's a few recommendations for you. I hope those work for you today and tomorrow and the day after. AB GHVI going crazy. I think it hits 30 by the end of the day. I don't know. It's 24.83, so it's doing well. I wish it wasn't this high. I have a lot of viewers who would love to have gotten it cheaper, but if it breaks under 20, that might be the only chance you get to get this thing, but it might not come back under 20. I don't know for sure. We'll see how this plays itself out going forward. But yeah, I think there's certain people on the street that really like this deal, and they're all over it. Let's see here. A couple more trolls coming through, but let's move on from that. Thank you to Chris Taps. I think there's another SPAC that might be interesting. Take a look at FRX. More coming. We'll keep an eye on these. And then we have Dabs Queen. Thank you for the donation. Always love the show, Uncle Bruce. Thank you for your advice. Thank you, Dabs Queen, for being here today. Appreciate it very much. Let's see here. Okay, what was that stuff? FRX. Let's take a look at FRX if we can. What do we got? Take a quick peek here. Let's see if this is up here. Forest Road Acquisition Corp. Up $3 a share today on a SPAC, it looks like, of course, on New York. This is a beach body to go public via three-way merger with Forest Road SPAC and MYX Fitness, $2.9 billion merged deal. And the street seems to like it right now. I don't know anything about it, so I'm just reading it as we go here. FRX is the symbol, 17.15 a share, hit a high of 18.20 right off the bat this morning after the announcement was, I guess, made. Now it's 17.19, and that's what we've got right now. The Dow is down 120 points. That's better than the opening. S&P down 19, and NASDAQ down 134. That's where we're at there. We will keep following the markets and see what's going on. Fantastic. Let's see here. What else going on here? Let's go here. Thank you everybody for these donations today. Appreciate it. Thank you for comments. Anything you're seeing out there, thank you for letting me know. We'll try to follow what we can and stay on top of what's happening. Let's see. Got a few folks who are making comments here and there, and I'm just trying to find if there's anything I need to highlight here. Just bear with me, catching up a lot of thing here. Here we go. Anna, I know you have said that you don't see a big stock market crash. Do you know why lots of other people are saying to look out for that? Are they just trying to get attention? No matter what time you want to look at, whether you want to look at this week, last week, a month ago, 6 months ago, year, 2, 5, and going forward, every day you will hear someone somewhere say, "Oh, the market's going to get ready for a big crash because they need a headline, they need some attention, whatever it might be." What can cause a market to crash is the question. That's the one you have to ask yourself. What would cause a market to want to back off dramatically? And it's really simple. I mean, it comes down to basically one thing, and that is, what can your money do better? Can your money do better in the stock market over the next year, or can it do better in something else, somewhere else? Well, where can your money go? If you're a retail investor, what would scare you away from the market might be something like your bank, your local bank is offering you a 5-year guaranteed investment certificate at 5% interest. Good for every year, 5%. You can put 20 grand into something like that, get $1,000 a year in interest for 5 years guaranteed by the bank. That might be enough to shake you out of the market. You might sell 20 grand worth of stock and put the money over there. Simple as that. No magic to it. It could be a corporate bond offering. It might be a corporate entity comes out and says, we want to raise $10 billion and we're offering 6% interest on the money. That might scare, or well, not scare, but that might motivate mutual funds, pension funds, hedge funds to sell some of their shares into the current market to buy the bond and take the 6% guarantee interest deal. If as a whole interest rates go substantially higher, and the United States government says, "Oh, lend us money for 10 years on a new 10-year note, and we'll give you 4.5% interest," that might be enough of an incentive for massive pension funds to take billions and billions of dollars out of these markets globally and give it to the U.S. government and take 4.5%. It's all, can you do better with something else? That's all it is. Another thing that could cause problems, of course, are higher interest rates for all of us, because you can get more for your money if you put it into a bank or into a GIC, but you also now are going to pay more for merchandise. Inflation is a nasty thing. Higher interest rates also hurt houses, because of course everyone's private mortgage might be renegotiated going forward at a higher rate than it used to be. And those of you who are old enough know what that's like. There's some of you out there who are like me, who've been around through interest rate hikes, and they're not fun. When you had your old mortgage at 6% and you're negotiating a new mortgage at 9.5%, not a fun time to be doing that. But to hold the house, you have to make cutbacks. You have a higher mortgage payment every month. You might need to take money out of the market. Or your banker says, look, you bought the house for $300,000. You put $50,000 down, and we gave you a $250 mortgage way back when. But now, with higher interest rates, we're going to need another $50,000 equity. I can only lend you $200,000 on your house because you don't qualify for the maximum amount. So you got to sell something. What do you sell? What's liquid? Stocks. You got stock. You sell your Apple. You sell your IBM. Whatever you got, you sell. You bring in $50,000. You sell a car. Whatever you got to do. Go to the bank, give them $50,000. You get a new mortgage, but it's at a higher rate. Your payment's almost the same as it was, even though you owe less on the house. That is what could upset a stock market. Is that coming right now? Nope, it's not happening right now. The 10-year note has gone up. Yeah, the yield on a 10-year note has gone up from something like 1%, 0.9%. to 1.3%. So 1.3% interest, is that going to upset the stock market? I don't think so. That's not even inflation. The inflation rate is 2 to 3%, really. I mean, the official inflation rate, 2 to 3%. The corporate America, the corporate world at large, is having no trouble handling these kinds of interest rates at all. At all. That's not going to upset the apple cart. The other thing that's going to make the market go down or be unfavorable is if there's a lack of cash going into the market. Well, that's not the issue either. The Fed is pumping all kinds of money into the banking system, and we have a $1.9 trillion aid package, a stimulus package coming out that's just going to put a whole bunch of money into the U.S. economy for the next 6-8 months, followed by the fact that a whole bunch of Americans between now and 6 months from now will be vaccinated with the vaccines. And that's going to open up the economy to a limited degree. Even if it comes back to 3/4 of what it once was, that's going to spur a lot of cash flow all over the USA and the world. And that's a lot of cash that's available to still slosh around the stock market. So no, I don't see a problem in the stock markets at all. That's just the way it is. All right, there you go. Those are my 2 bits on the thoughts. What are yours? Love to see what you're thinking. Anyway, we'll see what's going on here. Ryan, so he tried warning us about the market in 2008. The last time it really crashed hard, but I mean, he's someone to listen to. Good prediction in this market based on nothing. The 2008 crash, that was a gambler's fool paradise. Brokerage firms just going crazy, betting, on top of the markets with insurance bets and everything else. If you've ever seen the movie The Big Short, I would recommend, if you've seen it, you watch it again. And if you haven't watched it, you gotta watch it, and you're gonna have to watch it a couple of times to really get the gist of what happened in 2008 and 09. It is a very interesting movie to watch. For those of you trying to figure out how the stock market works, I would really recommend you take a look at that movie. There's some human interest story in there, yeah, but all in all, there's a real interesting, a really fascinating description of what happened in the markets back in 08, 09. Absolutely fascinating. And you should take a look at that movie. Margin Call. And Margin Call is another one. That's right. Thank you, Sakara. Margin Call is another amazing financial crisis movie. Highly recommend if you like The Big Short. Yes, if you really want to see sort of a brokerage meltdown, watch that show. That's an interesting show. Some really behind the scenes stuff. Of what could happen, can happen. Another one too, I would highly recommend. But those two movies, definitely recommend to watch them. There's another show that was made. It was kind of like a documentary show about the meltdown, but it featured all the heads of the banks. It featured the head of the Treasury, the head of the Fed. It had Geithner in there. It had all the top. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs guys, Bank of America guys, Merrill Lynch guys, and had their perspective on the meltdown, what was going on. And that is a great movie as well. I can't remember the name of the movie at the moment, if anybody remembers it. Too Big to Fail. Thank you, Jeannie. There you go. Too Big to Fail. I would recommend you watch that one too. You really want to understand just from a different viewpoint of what happened in 08, 09, to give you a handle on just how close the Western world came to collapsing financially, almost within hours or days. It was really something. Anyway, just saying, something to watch. Again, thank you all. Bruce, I'm pretty sure you can ban users from posting in the chat for messages that are negative. I can, and I am removing them as best I can. But what these guys are doing is they have a way to create 15 channels, and then they come at you, 5 of them at a time, come at you with 15 channels each, and then they start posting all kinds of hate and whatnot, and you eliminate it and get rid of them and then move on from there. Do the best I can. So bear with me, folks, while I'm eliminating these morons as best I can. Every once in a while, you're gonna, I'll run into this because we're on the air, we're live, and we're talking to good people like you, and these morons want to get in the middle of it. What can I say? Thank you all for being here with me today. I appreciate this very much. Thank you for the thumbs ups for the show, despite the troll issue. Thank you. GameStop, 44.12. It's backed off a little bit. So it's not holding those gains that it got earlier. It did reach 48.51, but it's now 44.12 on GameStop. A little resistance coming into there. The Gores Holdings today up $1.94 to 26.40. It's enjoying the momentum that it got from the recommendation from Josh Brown Friday afternoon on the halftime report. And what can I say? It's been a real hit for the stock. I was hoping that a lot of you would be able to pick this up between 14 and 16 a share, but it just isn't coming back, and it's definitely got a run on it. No question about it. The Virgin Group Acquisition Corp, 1282, bounced back from its low this morning, touched 1263, now 1282. This is in buy territory for sure. That's going to become 23andMe once that merger is done. And then 2 new SPACs for you to watch. SVAC, Sam Victor Albert Charlie, Starboard Value Acquisition, up 26 cents to 11.41. That is a definite a buy as far as I'm concerned. That one is going to merge. That one will become a data farm public company. They own 60. The company they're merging in has 60 data farms. Huge cash flow generator. $3.4 billion merger called Zyxtra, Cyxtera. Zyxtra Technologies is what's being vended into Starboard Value. I like that deal. And the other one is Fortress Value, FAII, trading at 1044, down $1.66. That's a screaming opportunity to get in at the low. This company is taking over ATI, physical therapy company with 860 physio centers across the U.S. Big money maker, cash flow generator. I think this is going to be a good deal. I can't see you losing money on this deal once this merger is completed. 15 to 25 is my target for this stock. It's 10.45. Pick it up and just sit on it. Put it over there. Same with Starboard. 11.47, 25 to 35 is my guess here. Gores Holdings, gosh, 26 now. I was thinking 25 to 50 was the range, and it's at 26 already. The deal hasn't even closed. It's happening, but it's not finished. This is way ahead of the merger, but the street's telling you, it's telling me they like this deal, and there you have it. GameStop now 44.75, a little better than the dip. We just dipped down to 43.33, now 44.75. There must have been a sell program that came through. Maybe it's over, and now the stock bouncing back a bit. 7.5 million traded on GameStop. So that's what's going on. All right. Anyway, there you go. I'm just watching for any more trolls. Perhaps we might be, they're taking a little rest. We'll see. They gather and come back and attack us again and again and again. We just have to do the best we can with what we've got. On the big board, the Dow and S&P, what do we got? The index of U.S. leading economic indicators went up 0.5 percentage point in January. Petrobras stock plunges after Brazilian government pushes for replacement of the CEO. Government's getting involved in business, not perceived as a good thing. Dow is now only down 80 points, 79 now. S&P down 18, NASDAQ down 139. So the Dow is only off 0.25%. S&P down 0.5%, NASDAQ down 1%. Interesting to see how that's going. The markets are recovering, except for not yet the NASDAQ, but that's interesting to see how that's going. Here, Apple, Microsoft are pulling back again today. It's been a few days in a row. At what point do we get worried? You don't get worried. These companies, you want them to come back. They have to come back. They've got to reestablish a new support level. You can't just go straight up. You can't. It just can't happen. It has to have some correction and backfilling. Just makes them more attractive for the long haul. I like both of these stocks, but I'll tell you, take a look at IBM today. Take a look at Home Depot today. Take a look at Microsoft. Take a look at the ETF SMH, which is the VanEck Vector Semiconductor Fund, the chip fund. Pick those up as well, or look at them for acquisitions. I like these. I like these entities. Definitely medium, long term. Definitely like them. Cheaper they get, the more attractive they are. Especially Apple and Microsoft. Oh man, that's a license to print money if you get them cheaper. But just be a patient holder once you've got them. If you're a flipper, you come to the wrong guy. I can't give you stock flips. It's not my specialty. It's not what I'm about. I don't trade stock on a minute-to-minute basis. I'm looking more for value than day trading. But if you get a day trade, congratulations. Hey, what's wrong with a day flip? Nothing. If you get one, you get one. But if you were counting on getting one, well, that's another matter where I can't help you there. All righty, that is what's going on in the marketplace today. I do not see a big correction coming to the market. I do not see a sell-off coming. I see real estate continuing to do well, with interest rates relatively low, with mortgage rates in these lower levels. I'm expecting real estate to do just fine. I'm also not surprised to see what we're seeing now, hearing now more and more about corporate America telling their employees, going forward, we're going to maintain the status quo. We're going to have people working from home going forward on a much higher basis than we've ever had before. The days of having the big, fancy Manhattan-based head office, 50,000 square feet on a couple of floors, might be over for a lot of corporate America, because they're figuring out, wow, if we can cut that back from 50,000 feet to 10,000 feet and have our folks be out in the field, they're just as productive. How many of our employees, up until this past February, March, how many of our employees were commuting into work every day, 5 days a week, an hour a day or more, and the same thing on the way home? 2 hours a day wasted moving. That's 10 hours a week. Now they're at home and they can either dedicate those 10 hours to us additionally, or we really do get 35, 40 hours a week of production from our employees because they're right in front of their terminals. They walk from the kitchen to their rec room where they've set up their office, and they're working right away. And we don't care if they're wearing their sweats or not. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be on camera. You're not going on a business trip to see someone in Cincinnati. If you do have a face-to-face meeting, you just wear the right top. That's corporately appropriate, and you're good to go. I think this is the new normal. I think it's what was going to be the normal anyway, but I think it was 5 to 10 years away. It's just been moved up 5 to 10 years right now. And here we are. I do see, though, more and more software upgrades coming out from various companies that will allow working from home to be even more efficient and more effective. That I do see. And I also see much more enhanced security systems being developed so that employees who work from home are linked into the server at the office, and that there will not be a breach in the link. There will be cryptology to protect, and sensitive information will be severely protected. It will be under attack, must be protected, and I think that's a huge growth area of business. Certain companies will specialize in that and thrive in that area. But I'll tell you, employees used to be the kind of employees that you could get commuting to your office. They had to live within maybe 30 miles of the office, 40 miles of the office at most. Now, there are companies with head offices in one city and employees in another country, thousands of miles away, time zones away, and yet it's working. And this is a win-win for both parties, not only the employees who are working from home wherever home is, but for the corporations themselves, because the satisfaction meter is much higher for these employees than it used to be. You used to have to keep people happy at the office. You used to have to worry about inter-office politics. You had to worry about the bully over in this area picking on the victim over in this area of the office, and the manager had to figure out what to do. Now it's online. You've got people who are working from the comfort of their homes. They're setting up maybe the top of their garages. They're setting up businesses up there, so they have a separation from the house to the office, which is upstairs over there. Yeah, this is the new wave that is taking over. And I think for employees, a lot of you out there have not yet fully realized the potential that's in front of you, that you may be beginning to enjoy here more and more as each month and year goes by going forward. You're going to realize, my God, I've always wanted to live in France, or I've always wanted to be in Spain for the winter, or I've always wanted to be in California in the winter and Minnesota in the summer. And you're realizing, you know what, I can do that. I can live in Palm Desert in the winter. I can work from there. I just need an internet connection wherever I need and want to go. And there are a lot of you out there who are figuring out, you know what, I can be a fully employed individual in an RV. Why don't I pick up one of these 45-foot Class A motorhomes with the slide outs and get that dish up on the top of the roof installed with the enhanced booster for internet? And well, why don't I and the wife and the kids travel for a while in the summer? I'm working from there. We, instead of camping at a campground for 3 days and then going home again, why don't we go camping for 3 months? And we'll park the RV for 3 weeks here, 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there. And when parked, I'm in business. I'm working. Same with the missus. The kids, if my wife was working for 3 hours, I'm handling the kids. We're going to go play. Then it's lunchtime, and then my wife handles the kids in the afternoon while I'm doing my work. And then in the evenings, we have a bite to eat, and we play some games with the kids, and we get to sleep, and we do it all again tomorrow. This is the new world that is now permanent. It's not like a 2-week vacation anymore. It's a 6-month trip. It might be, there are people out there who've been offloading everything and selling off everything and buying an RV and living in an RV full time, especially empty nesters who are going, hey, I want to see all lower 48 states right now. And when borders open up, I want to do more traveling into Canada, perhaps Mexico, perhaps in an RV, in a Class C, a Class B, a Class A, whatever it is. And I can work wherever there's an internet connection. And there are virtually no trailer parks that don't have internet. I mean, it's almost unheard of. And a lot of RVers are grabbing their laptops, heading to the nearest, will head to the nearest Starbucks and do work from there. They'll have themselves a latte or two, and they'll be in there for a couple hours, put in a couple hours of work, and then pack up their office and head back to their RV and finish work from there. The new world, guys. It's absolutely happening. Nancy is saying, thanks for your work. I've been looking at VCVC SPAC, RE Automotive and EV Company. It's 1250. Also looking at WPF SPAC at 11. Have you got any thoughts? I don't have thoughts on either. I don't know either of them. I'm just going to write the symbols down. We got REE and we have WPF. So I'll take a look at those later and let you know what I can spot there. But thank you for the heads up, and yeah, we'll take a peek at that. Appreciate the kind words. Absolutely living the dream, Bruce. This will be a huge boost for the remote technology world. Exactly. Bruce tells the truth. Store sales are up over 700% where I am. Let's see. Here we go. And with Starlink, you'll be able to have your RV wherever you want. There you go. I love working at Starbucks, trade at home, then do the rest of the work at cafe. Starbucks coffee is terrible, but I do like them as a business. I'm in a Marrakesh, Monaco, and living the normal life. Absolutely. Bruce, I'm feeling bullish on MUR and FAING. What do you think? I'm assuming FAING, you're talking about the FAING stocks, the big technology stocks, and I can understand why you'd feel comfortable with those. MUR, I'm not sure what that is, so I'll take a look at that. I'll put in MUR. I'm writing down symbols for stocks that you're talking to me about, and I'll take a look at those later. Dave, RV, smart. I'll be on my boat. Thank you. That's true. There are folks living on their boats. Same thing with a sailing vessel or a power boat. Some people are living full time on their boats now, and these marinas have internet. You got your booster signal. You can pick up internet. Yes, all kinds of ways to enjoy the mobile life that has completely changed the world because of COVID. It's just accelerated it. It's been happening already. I mean, there's countless numbers of people who lost it all in 07, 08, 09 when the meltdown came and went. And a lot of people were forced to offload homes, assets, you name it. And what did they end up with? All they had left was their RV, or they ended up getting a used RV or something like that. And they lived full time out of a van, out of a Class C, or into a fifth wheel with a pickup truck or whatever they did, and or Class A's. And a lot of these folks have just not gone back. They're never going back. They figured out, why would I go back? I'm going where I want, when I want. I live where I want, how I want. I'm on BLM land. I am in that's Bureau of Land Management land. I'm getting annual park passes for U.S. parks. I don't ever have to worry about property taxes again. I don't have to worry about utility bills. I don't have to worry about all that stuff. And I eat food like I've always eaten food. I can make my own food in my own unit. And if I don't want to be in the RV and I want to be in a hotel for a couple of nights, I can be in a hotel for a couple of nights, or I can grab a bed and breakfast. I can visit friends around the country. This is a whole new world of freedom that a lot of people didn't think they would ever get or could even have imagined starting in 2008 and 9 when the last crisis took place. And here we are now with the current COVID scenario. A lot of folks who've grabbed their husbands and wives have gone, or divorced couples, or never married people who've gone, or just boyfriend, girlfriend, and families have absolutely bought into this with the homeschooling, the whole 9 yards. there's a whole other world out there, folks. It's not suburbia. It's quite amazing. Shout out to Meekins, Morocco. I think I was on CFD by mistake. Dave's not here, man. Okay. William, Starlink is geo-fixed. You can't move very far without having to contact and update your connection. Can you mention SVAC and FAII again? Why did I like them? Taylor, I like SVAC, that's Starboard Value Acquisition Fund. I'll eventually memorize this. I keep looking at my notes. They're merging with a data farm company, 60 data farms these guys own. $3.4 billion deal. Sykestra, CYXTERA is the name of this data farm company. I like that deal. I think there's a ton of potential there to expand. And then the other one is Fortress Value Acquisition Fund, FAII. They are merging with ATI Physical Therapy. Those folks have 860 physio centers around the USA. I think they also have other services inside their physio centers, perhaps even dialysis available. That is, I think, a cash cow business going forward, and they will continue to expand into more locations. They're raising, they're going to have 650 million in their hand as soon as the merger is done. That'll go mostly towards knocking off debt, which will unleverage this ATI company and just free up the cash flow to the bottom line. I think that's a winner. So there you go. Those are two I like going forward. AB bought 80 shares of SVAC, set a limit of $24.99 a share, buy in low like this, and set it, forget it. Is this a good strategy? Yes. Pick your price you want to pay, put it in, there's a limit buy order, and if it comes to you, it comes to you. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Don't go chasing it. If you can pull that off, way to go. What is your opinion on penny stocks? Louis VR wants to know. I'm considering going all in with ZOM and NM Griff. I don't recommend it. Not me. If you've got 20 grand you're playing around with and you got $500 you want to try on a penny stock, you know what? Be prepared to just kiss it goodbye. I just cannot recommend people putting everything they have into a penny deal. I just can't. Your odds are long. Your rewards are possibly non-existent. And if by the time you find out about a deal and it's a hot deal, you're the last guy in. You're already too late to the party. It's just too risky a deal. These are the kind of issues that get suspended by regulators. These are the kinds of deals that get investigated by regulators. These are the kind of deals that could just give you a whole world of hurt going forward that you just don't want any part of. You gotta really, the smaller an investor you are, the more conservative you should be. It's the opposite, where people are looking for a get rich quick thing. I get it. Hey, how attractive is that? Go to a slot machine in Vegas, put in a couple of bucks and get the bonus round and walk away with $1,000 for a $2 wager. Yeah, who doesn't want that? What are the odds? There's a reason those casinos exist with the water fountains in 110-degree desert heat. They can afford it to keep it all air conditioned because of saps that come in and lose $2 at a time, $50 at a time, hundreds of dollars in a session, hoping for the big quick hit. Penny stocks, just not a good idea. I would not recommend it. And I'm sorry if I'm turning you off. I'm sorry, but I kind of want to be able to talk to you long term rather than just once. But you got to decide what kind of investor you are. And if you're a day trader, God bless you. If you're looking for a big score on a penny stock, God bless you too. But if you're going to be around a while, you're going to take a more conservative approach and build with experience, knowledge, and just a steady hand, because that's how it's done in the real world by most. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. What can I say? Sir, this is a casino. Well said, someone's saying. Our proper risk management is always a good thing to consider. I agree. What do we got here? Everyone loading up on cruise line stocks today. I guess balance sheets don't matter anymore. Perplexing. Let's take a look at the cruise stocks. By the way, Gamestop at 44.34, still near the low of the day, still up $3. But on the cruise side, Royal Caribbean up $7, 85.86. You got to be crazy to be buying this stuff. Norwegian, $29 a share. Carnival, $26.39. Sorry, but the balance sheets correct are absolutely overloaded with debt. They've got just a huge amount of debt that these guys have acquired, and they're not sailing until the end of the year at the earliest. So that's another 7, 8 months, 9 months of no business. That will mean that these three companies alone, just these three guys, will lose another $10 billion. They'll burn off $10 billion more in cash just to keep their boats in operating condition, ready to sail at a moment's notice. But they won't get their entire fleets running again until a year from now to next summer at the earliest, from where I sit. Unfortunately, I wish I could, just say, oh yeah, we're ready to go, but I can't. I just don't see it. What can I say? But these stocks, like David's saying, Carnival up about 10% today. I'm just throwing my hands up and going, they don't deserve to be up that kind of value, but they evidently are close to it. I have no explanation for it. There's just no way the cruise lines are going to be generating any cash from sailors, from customers, for another year, and that's minimum 10 billion, maybe 12 to 15 billion more in losses that'll be incurred by these guys before they start cash flowing. It'll take them 3 to 6 months to get all their ships running again, which means they won't be making money in that point of time either. They'll actually make money when all the ships are sailing and they're allowed to sail at capacity. But these guys are going to probably start at only 50% capacity when they do start sailing. And that means they'll be lucky to break even as a corporation when all ships are running at half. Lucky. So I don't see any reason for this. But hey, I know there are people out there who buy and sell cruise stocks. They go with the momentum trades, and if you catch a good momentum trade, God bless you for it. I wish you all the best, and make all you can. But if you're picking up a stock like Norwegian at $29 right now, that's about 60% of where they used to be at. That's too high. A Royal Caribbean at 86. They were once 130. There's no reason why this stock should be within $46 of its high trade from over a year ago. There's no financial, none. It makes no sense whatsoever. But that's just, what can I say? I'm just giving you my one man's opinion from this vantage point here. I do follow the cruise lines closely, and I'm not so sure. What's the difference, Bruce, between SVAC and SVACU? I'm assuming that the SVACU is the original unit that was issued by the company when they went public, which includes a share and a partial warrant to buy additional shares. The SVAC is just the stock itself, just because it's been split apart. You can buy the shares or you can buy the warrants, or you might still be able to buy both. I would just buy the stock. That's my recommendation, and only with cash. That's all I would recommend. All right. Get into the cruise lines while they're cheap. They're not cheap. Oscar, from where do you get your news from? Any sites? I get it from everywhere. I follow all kinds of entities. I watch CNBC, of course. I watch I have a business channel that we watch here in Canada. I have online sites that I follow, constantly trying to dig up information. I also scour SEC filings from public companies. I try to read those. Kind of boring, but you got to do it. I watch, I cover a lot of different things. Fred Harris, hi Bruce, what size RV would you recommend for 2 people? We just need the basics. Well, I'll tell you, the RV business is as complicated as the car business or the SUV business. There are models from for 2 people that are perfect up to the biggest there is. Your budget as well, 4-wheel drive or all-wheel drive versus just rear-wheel drive, higher ground clearance, lower ground clearance. It all depends where you want to go. Some folks love living in a van type scenario.
Others love living in Class Cs that have slide outs because that's what Class A's used to be. So they're in a smaller unit, but it gets larger when you park. Others love the Class A's with quad slides because they are, almost in a one-bedroom apartment by the time you do all of that. But they'll come to a spot and park for 3 months and just live in it for 3 full months, and then move to another location and 3 months over there. There's a lot of that. There's those who are on the road all the time, living on Walmart parking lots, BLM land. They need to be very mobile, need to be very quick to pack up and unpack. They're constantly, moving about. There are folks who are living in their RVs who are going job to job. I mean, there are people who work for Amazon on a part-time basis, maybe at Christmas time, and then at Valentine's time, or whatever prime time, whatever prime sales are on. There are folks who are working regionally in various parts of the country. They want to be in California, Arizona at a certain time of the year doing work there, and then they want to be in Florida, Georgia, the Carolinas at certain times of the year and work there. And so they get a rig that is compatible for distance driving, setting up in various climates. You might need a rig that is winterized, especially those folks. I pity any RV owner that has an RV in Dallas, Texas, sitting in a storage lot that is not a winterized rig, because the temperatures got so bad that don't be surprised if a bunch of RVs in Dallas and Houston had their pipes frozen inside their units where they were just sitting in storage yards. And now the owners are coming to check out their rigs and realizing, I got $5,000 in repairs here because my rig is not winterized. I had no idea that in Houston I would have a problem with winter weather. But surprise, the storm came and froze people out. So there's just all kinds of issues. If you're buying a used RV, you've got to be so careful. You really need the services of an RV broker that can do an inspection for you from the front to the back, the engine, the hydraulics, the plumbing, the air conditioning systems, the bedding, the flooring, the ceiling for leaks, on and on it goes. Getting something used is a real crapshoot. You can get deals, but that deal is a deal only if it's really working out for you. Otherwise, you go with a new one. But of course, nowadays, this economy that's shifted so much into mobile and getting away from the suburban living and downtown condo living, the demand for a new RV these days is unbelievable. And so you're paying top dollar. There's no easy answer to this question, as you can plainly figure out. Bruce, if Bruce say I'm buying, I'm shorting. If Bruce say to not buy, I'm buying. Okay, all right, gotcha. All right. What are the difference between common stock and units? When a SPAC goes public, they usually go public at about $10 a unit, and the unit includes a share and perhaps a half a warrant, a third of a warrant, a quarter of a warrant, some kind of an additional little extra that if you buy enough units, let's say you buy 10 units for $10 a piece, that's a $100 buy, or 100 for $1,000. It might be you end up with 100 shares for 100 units and 50 warrants, because you got 100 half warrants totaling 50 whole warrants. And a warrant is like an option. It gives you the option to buy another share of that company at $11.50 for up to a year after the merger is done. All right. So if you're picking up, say, Starboard Value Acquisition Fund as a unit, you might have the stock and a part of a warrant right now. And now the merger is announced. It'll be done in the next 2 to 3 months. Once that closes, you might have 1 year to exercise your warrant at $11.50 a share. Now, if the stock's at $25 a share and you can buy some at $11.50, you're going to take that deal. Of course you are. On the other hand, you could just sell the warrant. You've got 100 shares and maybe 50 warrants. You can sell those 50 warrants to somebody else. And again, if the stock's at $25 and the warrants are good at $11.50, they're worth $13.50 each in real value, because that's the difference between what you can buy the stock at and what they're trading at on the open market. So you might just sell those 50 warrants at $13 to $15 a piece. Just take the money and do whatever. On the other hand, you might exercise the option, buy the stock and put $11.50 more into those shares, and now you've got 150 shares with an average of like $10.40 a share, something like that, overall price. The stock at 10 and the stock at $11.50, you got an average price. Up to you how you want to do it. That's the difference. Let's see here. Waiting on cruise stock to drop to its 7s again, lower than I'm buying. Air Canada running up too, unbelievable. Finding that quite wacky. Let's see here. What else is going on here? Comments from people and questions. Oh man, thank you everybody for being here and sending me comments. I think we might be over the trolls for a while. I hope that happened. We'll see. You never know. They might take a pause and come back at us. We don't know. One day at a time, one trade at a time. We'll see what happens. Let's see here. Okay. We'll get to more comments in a bit. Hang on a second. Here we go. All right, there we go. Stock market, the market. Where are we at? Right now, the Starboard Ventures is up 20 cents to 11.35. That's a buy. Fortress Value 10.42 down 168. That's a buy. Gore's Holdings 25.28 up 82 cents. Just not coming back. It's been higher this morning, but it doesn't seem to want to come back. But if that could get down to 20 or less, that's a buy. Virgin Group acquisition at 12.64, definitely a pickup here. A GameStop 43.75 up 3.16 a share. Seems to be near its low of the day right now, about 40 cents away from the low of the day. Had a little pop at the opening, but it's still up 3.12 on the day. The question is, in my mind, will it hold any kind of a gain when it's all said and done today, or will it just slowly deteriorate back to the $40 range where it was on Friday? And we'll see how this plays out. 9.49 million shares traded today on GameStop. AMC up 19 cents to 5.89. Bed Bath & Beyond up 7 cents, 26.54. BlackBerry up 22 cents, 11.11. A little better than Friday. It was into the 10s there for a while. The Bumble Inc. at 72 bucks, not going anywhere. What else we got? Royal Caribbean up almost $9 to 87.79. Norwegian up 270 to 29.55. Carnival up 233 to 26.92. The Dow only down 36 points. This is the best level or near the best level of the day for the Dow, and that is telling me we may have had a sell-off to start the day, but we might come on as the day grows on. We'll see what's happening. It's down 37.6. S&P down 24. NASDAQ, though, under pressure, down 223 today. Supreme Court rules against Trump on the New York District Attorney's tax return request. So that's bad news for Trump. We might actually someday see his returns only years after running for president. Unbelievable. We'll see what that looks like if that ever comes out. AB, another donation. Thank you for this. When a big company like Boeing has a scandal disaster, does the stock plummet? What if they're so incompetent another company buys them like Elon Musk? Well, Boeing has had a rough go of it the last couple of years, of course. The 737 MAX, all kinds of problems now. The 777 problems, 777 engine problems. But this is a Pratt & Whitney issue. They're the maker of that particular brand of engine. But Boeing is caught up in it, of course, and it doesn't help. It won't sink the company. They're too rich to have to worry about that. But it's not going to look good, long term. It's great for Airbus. Airbus's planes are not falling apart in midair. They're not crashing for one unknown reason. So there you go. As Satan, thank you. What kind of timeline do you see for SVAC? SVAC Starboard, the merger was announced. They will do it in the next 2 to 3 months. That's physically how long it's going to take. And so I think that between now and 6 months from now, that company will be publicly traded as a new corporation. They'll be funded with cash. And I think there'll be other deals announced. And so, but if the stock doubles next week, congratulations. But if it goes to the $15, $20 range and $30 range over the next 6 months, nice return on your money and not too long a time frame. And I don't think there's any downside to worry about. This is not like, it's not like you're buying this stuff at the all-time high. You know, it's had a 5-year run and it's now at the all-time high. This is a brand new company. You're getting in near the ground floor for a public entity. I think it's worthy of an investment. That's where I'm coming from. All right, thank you guys for these donations and your questions. I appreciate it. John, I bought two shares of Gore's Holdings at 13. I wish I bought 200, but I didn't have the moolah. It feels bad, man. Well, you know, you never have enough of a winner, ever. You always wish you had more, and you start small and build it. Stonks, Bruce wouldn't even have to tie me up. Why would I leave? Brendan, I believe the 23andMe merger was projected for the second quarter of 2021. That is correct. It's between March and June. It should be done. And I'm thinking by the end of March into April, pretty well should be ready to roll. And they'll be up and trading as 23andMe. Let's see. What else have we got here? Yeah, here we go. Raytheon owns Pratt & Whitney that made the engines that failed. So Raytheon is the one that might have some issues. Let's see. What else have we got here? Comments and questions. Oh, Mario's thinking here. Hello, and thanks, Bruce. I believe TSM will go up in 3 years. It'll be my only investment. It's okay if I forget to diversify. You got to make your own call, man. Whatever works for you. You know, if you're young, you've got the time. But if you're my age, you ain't got that kind of time anymore, and you've got to be diversified if you're an investor of my age. Make dust move on with your life. Nobody cares. It's almost March. All righty. Let's see. How many of you want to get yourself an RV and go out on the road full time? How many want to do that? Are any of you out there thinking of that kind of life? Would that be the way to go? Lobo Blast #1. I just started trading last month. This is a great starter live stream. Thank you for that. I try to make it understandable in plain English if at all possible. Doing what I can. Sakura, long-term interest rates are going up. Seems to be helping banking stocks. What are your thoughts? Bank stocks would be helped if the rates went up like triple. But these quarter-point rate moves, you know, it's better. But is it the salvation and the turnaround of all time? No. Could interest rates go up a little more from here? Yeah, they could. But I think there's a lot of money coming into the market, into the economy, and I'm not sure if that's going to do much. Jack, just got home, Bruce, so we'll start the stream from the beginning and see how much money you're going to make me today. Laughing out loud. Ice Tangent, you got to diversify your bonds. My girlfriend and I love watching you, Boomer. Yay! I have an RV and I love it, says Colin. Right on. A lot of folks are in RVs now. It's incredible how many there are. Let's see. Here we go. Danielle, unlike Canada, I think most USA homeowners have long-term mortgages where the rate does not change every 5 years. Not sure what the norm is in other countries. Yeah, here in Canada, you can get a mortgage that has an adjustable rate. You know, they'll give you an introductory lower rate than the beginning, and then they'll, you know, over time it might go up and down depending on the bank rates. You can get a 5-year rate locked in, you know, lock it down, and then every 5 years renegotiate, change mortgage, refinance. I mean, all kinds of options depending on the value of your home and the perceived value of the neighborhood you're in. There's all kinds of ways to go. Rent an RV, says MG. Road Trek, says SAC. Matthew is saying VTGN and KXIN, get those right now. Virginia said, I'd love to do that. I'd love to be in an RV and just be going. Looked at a VW California, couldn't do it. Nicola Tesla, stock market of the Bruce, just bought 2 call options for Virgin Group Acquisition Corp for late July. The price is so low right now, I can't stop buying. You know, Richard Branson will be all over the news with the female CEO. Well, you know, he's putting 25 million of his own money into additional stock on this merger. The female CEO, she's putting 25 million of her money into the stock on this closing of the deal as well. The company will be funded with 950 million cash upon merger completion, and Branson isn't going to be quiet about it, and the company isn't going to be quiet about it. And so I think just the exposure of the deal could really be good for the stock. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Brandon, I've been saving for my pickup an RV for a while. I'm about halfway there, right on. RVs seems like such a hassle to own. Well, it all depends on the lifestyle you want. Some people would not go anywhere else. They would just want to be, in an RV, and that's that. Everett, I have a cab over camper. I love going on trips. Truck and travel. I bought 6 shares of VGAC at 1266 and 34 of SVAC at 1131. I think I got a good entry. I think you did too. I think you're doing great. Let's see, Virginia, if I were a travel tech, I would get an RV. What are your thoughts about hedging against inflation? There's a lot of people talking about inflation recently. I'm not worried about inflation at under 5%. I'm just not worried about it. I'm really not going to bother into that. Adam, trying to buy an RV here. I'm finishing my degree and I'm going to take it on my archaeology jobs. Can't wait. Right on. Exciting stuff. Let's see here. John Van, VCNX. Bruce, can you give me some insight on VCNX? Let me write down that symbol. VCNX. We'll look into some of these stocks that you guys are mentioning, see what's going on. Can you explain quantitative easing? In plain English, what does that mean? Well, as best as I could understand it, back in 08, 09, when the market was really on the edge. Thank you, Wackley's Technical Services. Thank you for the PayPal donation. I just saw it come through. Back in 2008, 09, the economy was a bit dicey there for a while. And the worry was that there was a lack of capital available for the banking sector. And so the Federal Reserve, announced that they would be issuing all kinds of cash, making it available for banks to borrow, to lend out. They were trying to find ways to get banks to lend money, and banks didn't want to lend money because they were afraid that whatever money they lent, they wouldn't get paid back, because a bunch of mortgages that they had lent money out for weren't being paid back because people weren't able to pay their mortgage payments because of the high interest rates and the payments going crazy, and people getting mortgages that shouldn't have gotten mortgages. People got laid off from work, lost their jobs, couldn't pay their mortgages. Banks were afraid to lend. And so the Fed decided to flood the market with a bunch of cash, cheap, and interest rates just plummeted way down to where we are now. And money became cheap to borrow all of a sudden, and the system got going again. But quantitative easing was where the Federal Reserve was, in effect, the Treasury and the Fed were issuing paper or issuing money to lend out, but then they were buying back bonds as well. And that was a program that they were doing with I think it's hard to explain it in plain English, but at the end of the day, the United States government was issuing all kinds of money to available lenders, borrowers, but then they were also buying up bonds that no one wanted. So they were buying up these mortgage bonds that were trading at much lower values, and they were picking up all kinds of other debt that other institutions didn't want anymore, allowing banks to offload bonds that had a lower value and to then reissue and reacquire new bonds that were being refunded with fresh cash. And that got the system going again, averting a complete depression that could have lasted 20 years. And it stopped the bleed from the 2007-8 meltdown. By 2010, the markets were roaring back with a bunch of fresh capital, new restrictions on what you could and could not do. But quantitative easing did save the world economy, not just the American economy, the world economy, because the European Central Bank also bought back bonds, still are doing it, and flooding the investment world with capital to keep the markets rolling and keep business happening. And that is as concise as I can to a way to explain that to you. As a retail investor, you don't need to worry about it. What you need to worry about is, can I buy a stock here and sell it for here? Well, if I can, which one should it be? And I'll try to throw some ideas your way, and hopefully that'll work for you. Reagan, Bruce, I lived in my bucket truck for 5 months in Florida. We had hammocks in the chip box. The municipalities were late paying. Big surprise. Interesting stuff. Catch OX16. Thank you for the donation. 10-year note slowly increasing, but still very low. U.S. Fed set to raise interest rates in March. Time to buy commodities. No, commodities have already moved. They've already moved up. They're already too high. I wouldn't bother. Wouldn't really change much of anything. Kevin, taking delivery of a teardrop next month, but no desire for full timing. But I'm getting myself a teardrop trailer. Fantastic. Those are cool looking rigs. My GameStop strategy is to auto buy $10 every day until it hits $100 a share. I also buy 50 shares for creators at 20 and stop. What are your thoughts? Look, if you can afford to buy GameStop from time to time, wherever it's trading at, you're going to have a nice average price in and about where you're at. And any kind of up move on GameStop from 50 to 100 a share to 200 a share, whatever, you're going to make a ton of money. There's no question about it. But if your average is 350 and you don't buy any more, you're going to have to wait until it gets to 350 for you to do anything with it. And that might be longer than you'd like to wait. But, averaging down, if you believe in the corporate story of GameStop, you want to average this thing out and go from there. Absolutely. Why all this RV talk? We're talking about the new world, Van. We're talking about how a lot of folks are now not working from condos anymore, going to work downtown anymore. The future is mobile. The future is going to the suburbs and getting a house with an office. The future for a lot of folks has been going completely mobile and grabbing an RV and living full-time and working full-time from an RV, where people thought that would never be a possibility. Now it all of a sudden is, because you can get high-speed internet into an RV depending on where you park it, what kind of a system you have. And there are people out there who never thought that they would be able to work remotely full-time. They thought that they always had to have a desk job, to be stuck in a cubicle, to never be ever get out until they were empty nesters someday or retired. All of a sudden, people are going, hey, man, I'm 38 years old. I'm 45 years old. I don't have to work downtown every day and commute 1 hour each way all the time. I can work from home. I can work from an RV. I can work in Portugal. I can go on holidays to Europe when we can travel again, of course. I can travel in the future. And with a laptop, I'm in business wherever I am going forward. Lives have been altered forever because of the pandemic. And that's what we started talking about. The RV thing we started talking about. What can I say? It's changed the world. And, it's going to be interesting. Here we go. Nicola, stock markets with Bruce. Could you explain warrants on SPACs? I feel like SPACs are some of the best deals regular investors can come by, and I would like to learn more. A SPAC usually goes public at $10 a unit, and the unit consists of a share and a partial warrant to buy more shares. So you buy maybe 5 or 10 SPACs, and you have 10 shares, and you now own 3 warrants. You might have gotten a third of a warrant with each unit. So 3 units gets you a full warrant, and you can buy 1 more share at $11.50 if you use that warrant for a year or so. If the SPACs are out there at $10 each as units, you can buy the units. But what happens is, as soon as the SPAC is completed, the funding is done, they usually split the unit up. And the exchanges offer listings for the stocks, for the warrants, and in some cases, even the units. And I would just recommend buying the stock. Get the stock. If you can get it, if you like a proposed merger, and that's what I like to do, I wait to see when a SPAC announces a merger to see if it's worthy of an investment. Then you can decide whether to buy the stock or not. And you pick up the stock at 10, 11, 12, 13, $14 a share. If you can get it that low, you like the deal they're going to do, great. Buy the stock, wait for the merger to be completed. Takes 2 to 3 months. Once that's completed, the company will change its name to the acquisition company, the big company that's now owning majority of the stock. And now you're part of a company that was once a private entity, is now a public entity, funded with a bunch of fresh cash. And I think you can do all right. I think overall, you may have way more winners than losers. But it all depends on the deal. And that's what kind of gets me going. Let's see what else is going on here. Lots of comments. Thank you, everybody, for following me. Thank you for making donations today. Here's Mike, another donation to the channel. Question, does it matter which shares you sell when you sell a portion of your shares in a company? Example, you have shares you bought at 20 and you have shares you bought at 40. Help me settle a bet. Okay, well, if you bought stock at 20 and then you bought more at 40. Let's say you bought 10 at 20, 10 at 40, just to kind of make it easy. You have 20 shares now. The 20 shares you got have an average price of $30 a share. So if the stock is trading at 50 and you sell 10 shares at 50, okay, the tax man is going to say, okay, Mike, you bought stock at 20, you bought stock at 40, you got a $30 average. If you bought 20 shares at 20 and 10 at 40, you don't have a 30 average. You've got more of a $26 average because you have more money into the $20 stock than the $40 stock. There's an average price somewhere. Whatever that average price is the price you own this stuff at that you sold at 50. So if you made a profit of, like I said, it's a $30 average, you sold at 50, you made $20 a share average profit on the shares you sold, that's your capital gain, all right? In your mind, you might say, I bought at 20 first, and then I bought at 40 second, and then I sold at 50 third. That was my third transaction. I want to claim only a $10 gain on the $50 sale because I bought at 40, I sold at 50. The tax man's going to say, no. Your overall portfolio, all the stock you've got combined at whatever you bought it for, you own 20 shares with an average of $30. And if you sold 10 of them at 50, you sold half your stock at $50 with an average price point of $30. And so you're up $200. You sold 10 shares at 50. You're up 200 on your position. You still have 10 left to sell down the road. If you sell those 10 at 50 down the road, you've sold everything at $50 a share. You made a profit of $400. You sold 20 shares at $50 for $1,000. You were into it for $600 total. You made a profit of $400, and you may or may not have a tax bill on your hands. It all depends. I hope that cleared that up. I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's see. How do you come up with a strategy? It comes up random to me. I'm not sure what strategy you're talking about. Let's see. Yeah, Goodyear just bought Cooper Tire. $3 billion deal went through. Yeah, it didn't interest me, that deal. New World Order of Bruce. There you go. My GameStop strategy: buy at 35 if it gets there, sell short 53.40 if it gets there. Looks like it's going to stay in this range for a long time. Well, look, you buy it at 35, it goes to 25, you'll feel like an idiot. But if it comes back to 45, you'll feel like a genius. Goes to 53.40, you sell it all and go short, you feel like a genius. Goes to 75, you feel like an idiot. Comes back to 45, you feel like a genius. Welcome to the way of the world. You never know what the low is, what the high is. You think you know the range. You're guessing. You're gambling. But hey, you buy it at 35, and you like the company long term, and it goes to 53.40. You sell it. Congratulations, you've done well. It goes to $105. You missed out on the move, but you know what? You made money, and that's what it's all about, is making money. Alrighty, there you are. How close are you to achieving your Tesla fund? Not even close. We're delighted. Jen and I are delighted with how this channel is doing, and we're delighted with how many of you watch me. Jennifer is blown away by the fact that some of you want to talk to me privately, one-on-one. She understands why you want to talk to me one-on-one. She totally gets it. She totally supports everything I do on that front. And I thank all of you who've contacted me through my email to talk to me one-on-one about your investments and your objectives. You can email me right here at this email address. If you do want to talk to me privately for an hour, it's $400 US for an hour. I will set up a private show on YouTube right here for just you and me, one-on-one, where I'll be on this half of the screen, you'll be on that half of the screen. And I will help you review where you're at and what you've been doing and where you're at now and where you're headed tomorrow. A lot of you are in the middle of a lot of changes right now in your lives. You've had massive changes in the last, year, with this pandemic. But a lot of you have got familial things to think about. You've got your mom and dad to think about. You've got grandparents to think about. You've got a lot of things coming up, and you want an outside opinion. I'm happy to try to give you one. I'll do the best I can for you. It's been a most interesting most interesting time, to say the least. And I welcome all of you. Jennifer, like I say, is blown away how many people send me private emails and say, I want to talk to you one-on-one. I definitely want you to spend some time with me. It's worth it. I have yet to have a viewer at the end of an hour say, well, that was a waste of money. I have yet to get one of those. But then with 65 years of life experience and 40 odd years of market experience, I'm sure I can give you some ideas as to what you should be doing or not doing to make it worth your while. So again, if you'd like to spend an hour with yours truly, it is $400 US an hour. Saturdays and Sundays are the best day for me, but I can do sessions on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and Friday evenings. Maybe one here, one there. But send me an email. Let me know what the best time is for you, and we'll see if we can reserve a time for you, and we'll get you set up with a consultation, and we'll go from there. So yes, it has been a busy time, to say the least, and as I say, Jen is blown away by how it's been going, and as I say, we're excited. We're very excited. Thank you all for your kind words, and thank you all for following me and hanging out with me. We're getting into the last half hour now of the 3-hour morning show, and appreciate all of you who have been following today. Thank you for the thumbs ups today. Not sure how many we got. How many we at now? Thumbs ups on this show. 882. Let's hit 1,000. Let's see if we can get 1,000 thumbs up through. If any of you out there can throw a thumbs up for this show, I really appreciate it. That'll break us up over 1,000. And I'll tell you, the more people find out about us, the more will join us. And the more that join us, they find out the GameStop story. They find out about the other stocks we're following. And power is in the numbers. Absolutely. 934 now. We just cracked 934. We're on our way to 1,000 thumbs ups. They're coming in fast. 944. Thank you, everybody. Hit that thumbs up button and get me over 1,000. That would be fantastic. We will get through that, and YouTube will spread the word to more people. 953 is now the total of how many thumbs ups? 965 now. You guys are awesome. Thank you. 970. We're going to hit 1,000 here any minute. And I thank you all very, very much. 980 now on the thumbs ups count. 987. Fantastic, everybody. Thank you for that. I'm sure we're going to hit 1,000 here any minute now. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Fantastic. What else is going on here? More questions coming in. I'm trying to stay up on all this stuff. Thank you there was someone who made a donation to me. Thank you. AB, thank you again. I say I make 60 to 80% return on a SPAC. Should I sell and set aside the taxes and then invest the profits in another SPAC, or wait until tax year and cash out? Well, you know what? When you get a gain, a real nice hit, the last thing you should consider is the tax implication. The first thing to consider is, how much money are we making here? Are we happy with the percentage return? Are we happy with the dollar return from $10 to $20 or 15 to 25, whatever that return is? What were our objectives going in to this investment? Are we happy that the SPAC went from 15 to 25? Should we just write call contracts against this stuff and hold it and just take in some gains now from option players? Because you can write options. If you own 100 shares of the SPAC, you can write an option against the SPAC that's being merged into a company. You can still do that. Do you want to write a 1-month contract that's $5 further out from where you're at right now? Maybe you'll write a $30 call contract, good for 3 or 4 weeks. You can bring in $3, $4, $5, $6 a share on a $30 contract that's out of the money by $5. Why not do that? Thank you very much. If the stock goes to 30, then the option is worth 0 at the end of its lifetime, because it's only at book value. But you just scored the premium and the $5 gain on the stock. If it stops at 29, the contract definitely will die worthless. You can keep all the money and rewrite a new contract. Maybe you'll write a 35 that's good for 2 or 3 weeks and take $3, $4, $5 a share there. You didn't even sell the position, but you're now cashing in on the position at these higher levels. What's wrong with any of that strategy? Nothing whatsoever. The tax issue is not what I would be worrying about. Yes, it's true that if you do make a capital gain and it's sizable enough, you're going to have a tax issue to deal with. But in each state where you live, in the US or here in Canada, wherever you live in Canada, there's certain allowables where the first so much you make is not taxable. Then a certain amount after that is taxable at a certain rate. You can also write it off against capital losses on other positions you've had. So if you lost money last year in the market and you're making money this year, you can write 1 year off against the other year and still not pay taxes. Don't let the tax thing get in the way of making a buck and scoring a profit. All right, that's what how I would answer that question. There's not one simple answer, as you've noticed at all. Right on. Mishi Kim, is VGAC a good deal? I like it. The price here is the right price. I would want to be buying this for sure. Absolutely want to be buying this. Let's see here. Thank you again to Wackley's Technical Services for the PayPal donation. Really appreciate those. Those are very important to Jennifer and I. We appreciate those very much. Starboard value, that one, SVAC 1125, screaming buy there. Fortress value 1046, SPAC, buy that one. Gore's Holdings 23.53, down 93 cents. Actually, that's good news. If this can come under 20 bucks, buy it. Buy it. Virgin VG acquisition, Virgin Group acquisition, down 75 to 12.52, screaming buy. Absolutely a deal. GameStop down now at 42.81, near the low of the day. Still up 222 on the day, but it is slumping. It had a run up to 48.51, now 42.81. It is giving up ground. 40 or less, definitely a buy. In my opinion, even here it's a buy, but I'm looking at a 3 to 6 month time frame for this to pan out, just so you know. Excuse me, AMC up 9 cents, not doing well. Bed Bath & Beyond now down 11, not doing well. BlackBerry still up a nickel, but not going anywhere. Royal Caribbean up 7.77 a share to 86.64, way too high. Norwegian at 28.95, up 210, way too high. Carnival at 26.46, up 188. They're overpriced. These cruise shares are overpriced. The Dow was down 57 points. The Dow was off over 100 plus on the opening today and has recovered nicely. It almost got to an even. It's backed off a bit, but it's not hurting here. The Dow is only off 1.16 of a percentage point. This is a nothing move today. S&P down 0.75 of a percentage point, down 29 points. But it's the NASDAQ that's the big loser of the day, down about 2%, down 274 points. That's the one that's taking the biggest hit. Probably the FANG stocks are backing off today, but that just makes them, to me, more attractive in the longer run. There are certain FANG stocks I like more than others. I definitely like the Microsoft. It's down 7.50 today to 233. I like Apple down to 126, long-term hold. I like that deal. What else have we got going here? Other FANG stocks. Facebook 258. I like it at this price. The multiple is very attractive. But again, long-term hold, not a 1 week flip. Google, Alphabet, trading up 35 times earnings at 2,070. The 52-week high, 2152. So it's only off 80 points from its all-time high. It has not given up much ground, and I can see why, because it's just making all kinds of money. They're just making all kinds of money. Netflix, I'm not so crazy about. It's got a high multiple of 87. The high of the year on Netflix, 593, is trading at 533. I would really like it in the low 400s. That would be a buy range, but it's not there. So I avoid it at this point. At least I don't recommend it as an aggressive buy at this point in time. But GameStop now at 42.89, up 230 a share on the day, but it is giving up ground as the day wears on. And we'll see if that wants to hold the level here or not. It's a stock that needs GameStop needs the company to make announcements. They're not making announcements, and I can see why right now. They have nothing much to really say at this point. Their next group of announcements will likely come from financials. When they release financials, we'll probably hear more from them at that time. We'll see what's going on. Let's see here. There's a few articles on GameStop today, but nothing from the company itself. So the company is silent at this point in time. But Keith Gill did double his position on Friday, and that caused the market to pop first thing in the morning and after market over the weekend. But right now at 42.88, it's losing a lot of the momentum it got from that initial announcement. All right, that's where we're at right now on the markets. We are coming into the 3-hour mark of our day here, and we will be shutting down until this afternoon. I will be back on in the last hour of trading and the first hour in the aftermarket this afternoon. We got about 16 minutes here before we shut down this show for the morning, and I'll be back on later. For those of you who are following me on Traveling with Bruce, I'm on the air twice today. I'm on the air at 7 o'clock Eastern for sponsor members only, for a 1-hour sponsor member hangout show. And then I'm on at 8 o'clock for anyone to join tonight on Traveling with Bruce, where I will cover the latest developments in the travel biz and on cruise ship developments. Those of you who like to follow me on that, you're more than welcome to join in on that channel later today. All righty. Fantastic. Like taking a look here, what's going on here. Any more comments that I need to address and see what's going on here. Here we go. Brandon, hi Bruce, new to the channel. I love it. I don't have any online wallets set up to buy crypto. Do you have any thoughts on buying into blockchain stocks instead, like Riot or DMGI? I don't have any thoughts on these kinds of issues at all, Brandon. I follow a number of different issues out there, and I have a few thoughts on some of my favorites. But even buying into like crypto, I'm not a fan of getting into it. I know that there are certain platforms like Robinhood. You can open up a Robinhood account and you can buy crypto in there, but I'm not big into this. There's certain stocks I like. There's definitely an ETF. I like the chip ETF because there's a shortage of computer chips out there in the world. I like the VanEck Venture Semiconductor. That's symbol SMH. I like that investment. And then I like certain stocks that I've been calling out here on my show lately. We'll see what's going on here. My Pillow founder and Trump ally Mike Lindell sued by the Dominion Voting System Company. That's interesting. They're going after all kinds of people, which I find really fascinating that they're doing that. GameStop just popped a little bit here. We were down to the 42.70 range. We just popped to 43.20. It might be a little midday run here, but I'm not sure if that's going to have much gas. We'll keep an eye on that. The SMH, the VanEck Vector Semiconductor, it's down $5 to 248. I like this thing. If you're into the, if you like into the deal of the chip shortage, you're going to like this deal. Now, I just noticed on Royal Caribbean, they've announced a huge loss. Again, no surprise. Shares have had a pretty good day today. I'm going to take a peek here at RCL. Royal Caribbean stock still up 760 on the day to 86.47. Got as high as 88.75. This is absolutely not a buy in my opinion. This is really a sell. I just can't understand why the market loves this stock. I do not know what it is. Because they are logging losses and will for the rest of this year. But what can I tell you? They say that they lost $1.1 billion, $5.02 a share in the fourth quarter versus a profit of $142 a year earlier. Revenue plunged to $34 million, down from $2.5 billion. They suspended their operations like everyone else due to COVID. And they're burning at least $290 million a month just to keep the ships parked in the water. They're not going anywhere. As of December 31, the company's liquidity totaled $4.4 billion. They've raised $9.3 billion of new capital including debt and equity, to stay alive. They're not going to provide financial guidance. Obviously, they can't. And yet the shares are at $87 odd a share. It's just an absolute shocker to me. This company would be wise to announce another financing by issuing stock. This is your perfect opportunity to issue paper to a willing market. I can't believe that the market is chasing this stock to the level it's at. Makes absolutely no sense. Even at 86.37, they should be issuing stock at $80 a share to the tune of $2 billion more, and just keep raising cash. It's free money, no interest requires to be spent on it, and they could use the cash towards the $290 million a month they need to survive, and perhaps retire some of that expensive debt that they've raised. I tell you, if these guys could raise $10 billion at $80 a share, I tell them to do it. Give back bondholders $7 billion of the $10 billion and don't pay interest on it. And then the other $3 billion put into the treasury and just use that to keep the company alive until you can sail again. That's what I'd be telling these guys to do. But I don't know. They've issued a lot of paper in the last year. There are now 224 million shares outstanding in the company. And I can see them issuing 50 million more shares between now and the end of the year just to stay alive. And I'd recommend they do it. Absolutely do it. Not a bad move. If the market wants to give you cash, I say go. But I'm just one guy, and I'm telling you what I see. And man, oh man, I do not see cruise lines making any money for at least a year from now. GameStop now at 43.63. It might be topping out here temporarily. It had a little run here from a low of like 42.66 or so. It's gone up $1, but I don't know if GameStop has any more momentum behind it. Hopefully it does, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case. The volume on GameStop now, 10.8 million shares traded. Not incredible volume, but definitely Keith Gill did step in and pick up 50,000 shares. DFV, he bought 50,000 more to double his position. But I would love to hear something like, wouldn't it be neat if Elon Musk were to buy into this thing? Or wouldn't it be cool if some of the hedge funds were announcing 5 and 6 and 8% positions in this company, picking up in the last 30 days or so while it's bottoming out here? But that's hopeful and wishful thinking. We have to see if anything comes from it. Time will tell. There you have it. The Dow now up 11 points. The Dow Jones Industrial just took a shot. It's now up 14 points on the day. This is a good sign for the Dow. The S&P down only 20 now, but the NASDAQ still the laggard, down 224 points. It's the one that is not reacting positively yet, but something caused the Dow to want to make a bit of a pop. Happy to see it. I don't know what's causing it, but I'm happy to see it. We'll see what's going on. Again, thank you, everybody, for being here today. We're into the last 9 minutes of this show, and then I'm going to take a bit of a break until the close. So we'll keep an eye on the last hour of the day, first hour in the aftermarket. Ben, Bruce, thoughts on XRT, a retail ETF, volume of 98 million at 4 p.m. yesterday. GameStop shorts covering with XRT. No, they're not covering with XRT. You can't cover your short position buying another entity because you can't strip the stock out of this entity. You can't do it. You cannot just get out of your short position by buying XRT. You can't do it. You have to buy back the stock. XRT is just getting volume now because people are hoping for the vaccines to be fully distributed through the summer and the fall of this year, which sets up Christmas holiday shopping in shopping malls again. And that's what we're talking about here. These retailers, the hope is that they will have a better summer and fall, and people are trying to get into it now. Maybe this will be the go. That's all that's going on right now. We'll see how this plays out. Fantastic. What can I say? We've had an interesting morning today. Lots of trolls were hanging around this morning. We must be doing something right. Thank you, those of you who've been with me all day today. 7 minutes away from closing out this show. We're now at 1,000 thumbs ups because of you guys. Thank you, all of you, for hitting the thumbs up button during my live telecast here. Really bringing up some good recommendations. YouTube is definitely bringing people to me that have never heard of me before. I am hearing from people who want to have one-on-one consultations with me, and they're saying, I found you because I was recommended to your channel by YouTube. I was following other stock channels, and all of a sudden YouTube recommended your channel to me. I started watching your live shows, and I just love the community that you have, and love the recommendations you're making. And so this channel is growing because you folks out there are giving my channel thumbs ups on these live telecasts. I cannot thank you enough for this. It means the world to us. Jen and I are blown away that so many people from around the world are discovering this channel. It is absolutely amazing. I got to tell you that an hour before I went on the air today, this channel had generated 24 views in an entire hour before I went live. And since I've been live, we've now had over 8,000 views of this show. Just to show you how many folks are following us, we're over now 1,100 thumbs ups. Thank you, everybody. It's really amazing how this channel lights up when I start my show with Uncle Bruce. And I thank all of you for becoming part of it. I really appreciate it. Here's Brandon. I found you mentioned on Reddit. Fantastic. Spreading the Bruce love on Reddit. Thank you, guys. There's a Reddit page for Stock Markets with Bruce, and I appreciate that. Mike, a cup of coffee, best way to start each day, right here. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate that. Nice job, Bruce, says Duncan. Thanks, guys, for following me today and being part of the show. Again, let me recap the recommendations I'm making to you. There's stocks that I like, and I'll tell you which ones they are. The shares that I am recommending right now and what you should be looking at, my opinion only, just so you know, I am recommending a couple of additional SPACs today to the corral of SPACs that I'm beginning to assemble. I'm recommending Starboard Value SVAC. SVAC I'm recommending. That is one you want to get into. It's around $11.30 a share. I'm recommending Fortress Value. FAII is the stock symbol. Pick that one up. It's $10.38. That's right near the issue price of a SPAC. Pick that one up. GHVI, Gores Holdings. If it comes down to 20 or less, pick it up. It's at 23.26, down $1.20 today. Hopefully it'll give up some more ground. I'm recommending Virgin Group Acquisition, VGAC. I've been recommending that now for a couple of weeks. $12.64 is the price, right in the sweet spot. Pick this thing up if you can. Recommending Gamestop as always. It's now $43.66 a share. It bottomed out earlier today around $42.40. It's now $43.50. It's kind of finding a little level here. We'll see how it's going to do. I'm also recommending old school IBM. I'm recommending International Business Machines. That is old school. If you pick it up for a long-term hold, you're going to get 5.5% dividend yield on this thing. Nice return on your money. Solid as a rock as far as corporately goes. I like the new direction they're headed. They, I think, are going to grow their value, and I think you can do well with this one. I like Microsoft. I definitely like Microsoft long term. I like Intel. By the way, I like Intel. I like Home Depot, HD. Good old Home Depot. I like that one. And there's a SPAC, there's an ETF I'm recommending, SMH, which is the Vanek Vectors Semiconductor. That is the chip stock ETF, the worldwide chip shortage. I really like this deal. I recommend it. Definitely you want to get your hands on this. I'm trying to get the sun out of my forehead here. I'm using my music stand. There we go. There's, you can see the music stand right there. I'm trying to block the sun from blinding me. The sun just broke through here in Creston. Great for the outdoors. Not good for a YouTuber who's looking at a camera, squinting past the sun. But anyway, thank you. Those are my recommendations right now that I'm looking at. If you've got some portfolio adjustments to make, these are some of the areas you want to look at getting into. Short-term, medium-term, long-term. There's some value there, some quality there, and some SPACs that are really interesting. this Starboard and Fortress. I like the deals that they're merging into their companies. I'll talk about more of these more today, an hour before the close, and in the first hour after trading today. We'll talk about these stocks as well and get into more detail and keep you posted on how they're doing. There you have it. There, we're getting close to the end of the show here. William, thank you. Alex, thanks so much. What do you play? I play YouTube. I play YouTube. That's what I do. The sun agrees with you. Thank you, guys. Have a good morning, Bruce. We'll see you later. Thank you, Sharon. HMAC, there's a recommendation there from Delta. We like the stocks. Regular VAC, Sasuni. There you go. Thank you again for those of you making donations to this channel today. PayPal donations, thank you again. Very much appreciate it. There is my email if you want to talk to me one-on-one for a private consultation. I am available for those. Can only do so many people a week, though. Send me an email, and we'll see if we can set up a schedule for you. It's $400 US for an hour, and we'll go over your entire portfolio, figure out where you've been, where you are, where you're going, and hopefully I can guide you in the right direction where you should be heading next, and we'll kind of go from there. And I appreciate those of you who've already contacted me, and we've done several sessions already with a number of you. And thank you for all of you who've already engaged my services for that. And hopefully I can help some of you out there as well going forward. There it is. That's it. We're in the last 30 seconds of this show. Gotta go. Gotta get some rest. My voice is going. Getting ready for the afternoon show. And catch me at 3 o'clock Eastern time today for 2 hours from 3 until 5 Eastern today as we go through the close of the market and the first hour afterwards. Okay, guys? Thank you. Appreciate that. And guys, thank you for all your kind words today. And thank you for suffering through the trolls. We were able to eliminate a bunch of them. Hopefully they'll stay away and we'll keep it going. All right, guys. Thanks everybody very much for being here and all your kind words. Thank you. Like the show. Anna, thank you. James, thank you. See you this afternoon. Thanks, guys. Going to the moon. Catch you later. See ya. Thank you. Just trying to show off as many messages as I can. We'll catch you this afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time. All right, guys. Have a good one. In the meantime, make a bunch of money, get rich, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.